Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, time for the crossover, powered by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com. He did not stay in Arkansas.
Thank God. I'm back. Hello. Hey. How you doing? How y'all doing? I did say y'all one time.
Wow. That's okay.
We were having, before a game, having a meal, and there was, a mix of Creighton people and Arkansas people. I'm like, y'all have a good night. I just wanted to try it out. I just wanted to see what happened.
So
it didn't feel right.
Conscious or unconscious?
It was conscious. I didn't like it.
So it always blows me away when you live in Omaha how close Fayetteville is. Like it's what, 6 hours?
6 hours, baby.
Wild.
So is there much difference between the Southern Missouri accent and the Arkansas accent?
Not that I noticed. No.
But there's a distinct accent.
Oh yeah, they got the Southern. They drop the y'alls, and I guess it just depends on how long you've been there or whatever.
All right, let's talk about people you saw.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I saw some people.
Sam Pittman?
No, I didn't see Sam Pittman. I may have seen Sam Pittman, but I didn't know.
John Calipari.
I definitely saw John Calipari.
He was at the game?
He was at the first one. So we played the night game on the first day, and we were walking in, and he was walking out. Same, like we were at the, the security, what do they call it? The little beeper deal. We were there at the same time. I'm like,
that's John
hi.
Calipari.
I'm like, hi, coach. And he's like, hi. He just left. And then when our bus came up, John Daly was getting into his car.
Whoa! Now, where does John Daly sit during the game?
John Daly sits up in the suite, which they have 1,000 of. They have 1,000 suites.
John Daly actually goes to a private bar at that stadium, and he doesn't even look out toward the field. He just watches it on the TV. He's just there at the bar.
It's incredible. It's
anybody
incredible.
from the Walton family?
I don't know. I don't know what any of them look like.
Yeah,
they're dressed in Walmart gear.
Yeah, there was a lot of fans of Walmart.
They had the vest on.
If you know what I mean.
That's an interesting way to describe it.
I know what you mean.
Okay.
A lot of Walmart fans.
So, lot of, you can find a lot of those boots up in the 20% off section.
You're familiar with both fan bases. What will Tennessee, Arkansas in the stands be like this weekend?
Well, I mean, nuts. Because they were nice to us. Because they knew that we were no threat to them. But
so that's why they were mean to Nebraska?
I think so.
Well, yeah, it took Kevin Kopp's greatest performance of his entire life.
There was some nice stuff. There was some, they did some good, they were engaged the entire time. So give them credit for that. But, the thing where they were counting Langrel's hitches on his, that was fantastic.
That was funny.
But they were like generally nice. And we never played really a competitive game with them. Nope. So they weren't really bothered. And so it was just a fun, great time for everybody. Thank y'all for coming down.
Come back around now.
We love you. Your coach has so much class. They saw that video after the game.
We love coach's sleeves.
It's fantastic. And then people really lost their minds a couple different times. Arkansas fans, you got to see the heat of it. They were really unhappy and confused about why they had to be the road team in the winter bracket game. Really unhappy about that, which is BS for the record.
Well, yeah, ask LSU.
It's a weird quirk about this tournament.
But they were
like quirks. We got to keep quirks. And then keep removing quirks.
We left them extremely confused because they put out the video of Van Horn and Ed shaking hands after the game. And Van Horn said, "I'm not far behind you."
Oh, yeah.
And
I did see that.
Lost their minds. It's fantastic. It was great.
Well, that's all relative.
Well,
not too far behind. It could be 3 years, could be 5 years.
Could be 1.
That's why.
Could be 0.
Could be tomorrow.
Could be 10.
They might win the national championship and he just says bye.
Would you care?
Would not surprise me.
Yeah, me neither.
He's 64 years old.
Yeah.
Everybody's out of the house. He's got a good life in Fayetteville. That's a program where
does he have a successor? Does he have Nate Thompson?
Does he have a coach in waiting?
So
I'll do it.
So here's what,
Josh. Way to put your hat in the
You'd
ring.
be a great fit, Josh.
What are you more likely to be, the coach of Arkansas or mayor of Omaha?
Why not both?
That's true. Some people say.
Some people live in different places that are the Omaha mayor.
Someone make that meme.
So there are candidates But I will tell you a guy, and maybe it's too far down the road now because he won a national championship. Tony Vitello would be the guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's always talk about Tony Vitello not being at
they're
Tennessee.
Building the state,
I
they're
know, it's too
renovating the
far.
stadium
Like,
in Tennessee.
if
They're putting a lot into the
DVH
program.
would have left a couple of years ago, I think he would have said Vitello is the guy that can handle Arkansas. But now Tennessee and Arkansas are probably what, top 5 baseball jobs?
Absolutely.
Well, they
absolutely. I mean, it's hard to. There's not very many places better.
They're investing a lot in that volunteer program, and he looks good in orange. He looks damn good in orange.
That's going to be fun. Those
Tough color to pull off.
He looks good in orange. He does.
There's not a lot of guys that look good in orange.
Listening to his Tupac and his AirPods.
Yeah,
that is
got a little attitude.
That is going to be a fantastic super. I wish it was here.
Yeah.
But those two coaches who have kind of made up.
Well, Josh brought up this point this morning. Sunday night at the College World Series, we could be getting LSU Arkansas.
Let's go.
Hello.
That'd be juicy.
Let's go.
Hello.
That would be nice and juicy.
Watch out.
But what day do we potentially have Murray State and UTSA?
That is the start.
Could that be the Friday?
That is Sunday afternoon. That is Father's Day Sunday, which is actually perfect because
nothing screams Father's Day more than two teams that nobody knows about.
Available.
Yes. Yeah.
That
would be.
Tickets looking like right
now. Just send an email. You can get them.
No, I'm just saying for like the public, for the casual person who needs to buy them.
I don't know. I do not know.
$50 for game 1 on Friday.
There you go. You might be getting Miami and Florida State,
which would be, we could reminisce about the good old days.
Absolutely. A lot of references to football. We could talk about football.
I mean, that's what we do. When Nebraska-Oklahoma got matched up, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. By the way, what the hell happened in that game? All of a sudden, they were down 17 to nothing.
Connor, they were bad, or Nebraska was bad, they were good. All right, that's all you need to know.
Wow.
Nebraska was bad, they were better. Let's move on.
Well, there was this little dribbler back to Will Walsh, and then there was this ground ball to Stokes at third, and Caden Brumbaugh had to do a jump man impersonation to keep the ball from going into right field.
Oh, my
And then there was a hit here and another air, and then there was I mean, at that point, though, it's 17-1. It's a loss. It's So would you rather lose on a walk-off for your season end or get beat 17-1?
So Oklahoma did not feel the effects of throwing off against Nebraska in the first game. It didn't end up mattering.
No, the effects. The effects was the guy dealt for 6 innings. That's what the effects were. The effects were the guy.
I told you guys. I was like, this
Nebraska.
guy still strikes everybody out. He just has a higher
I said
rate.
it too.
And then they pitched this guy on Sunday that walks a lot of people, and all of a sudden Nebraska wasn't walking.
There were so many errors early in that game.
Yeah, they weren't ready to play.
So, for example, I mean, you look at this, like the guy, Arkansas's guy, Root, he'll be a first-round draft pick. He was incredible. Creighton was never touching him. He had like a 4 ERA.
I know.
And I'm like, who's touched this guy? And the answer is, he plays the SEC.
Well,
I mean, it's just a different thing.
So on Twitter, everybody was, oh my God, the guy's got a 5.53 ERA. We're getting their second best pitcher. And then you go and read.
It's like, no, you guys don't get it.
Well, Evan Bland wrote a great article about the preview of Oklahoma versus Nebraska. And he goes, yeah, Malachi Witherspoon is going to be a 3rd-round draft pick in the MLB.
Yeah.
And we're immediately, I'm like, guys, he throws 99.
This isn't easy.
Were the TV announcers on site?
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
Good guys.
Good.
What do you think?
Well, because the last time when Nebraska played at Arkansas, they weren't on site. Now that was 21, so it was still kind of close to COVID.
Yeah, they were there.
But I think there were a couple of places where the announcers were not on site.
Yeah, I heard that a couple times this weekend.
Because the audio between one guy and the other was completely different. So that's what my first would like. Okay. Or if they didn't show them on camera to begin a broadcast, they didn't show them like in the booth.
I was watching on Squeeze Play, and you could tell there was one in particular that was like that, where the audio's off.
Yikes.
Love Squeeze Play, though.
Absolutely.
Shout out
love Squeeze Play.
Any other fun Fayetteville facts?
Oh.
My geography living here, that it is only 6 hours away.
It's awesome. It's a great trip. You could stop in Kansas City for lunch, and then you just drive 3 more hours. It's so easy.
But south of Kansas City on 29 is a little rough, right?
It turns into 49. You have to get on 49. It's a little windy at the end there. You go into
the Ozarks.
You go to the Ozarks. Yeah. Didn't see Marty Bird or anything like that.
This is not a demeaning question whatsoever. Okay. I don't want anybody.
They might be here next week, so be careful.
I'm actually curious because it's only 6 hours away. Outside of going to a regional, I
would never go.
What are the other reasons you might
there are parts
go
of Arkansas
visit?
are beautiful.
Well, but the lake of the Ozarks is still several hours away.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Is there like another like big event or big reason as to why one might travel to Fayetteville? I'm honestly curious.
College football, college basketball, college baseball.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the story.
Good to know. I didn't
They
know.
get some cool little stuff, though, just like every college town does.
Well,
nice little restaurants.
I wanted you to be like, they have this really big like rock that's been there since like the Stone Age that a lot of people really like visiting. Or like, there's this really cool Bass Pro that's got all these, there's a Mall of America down there.
No, there would be no reason to do that.
Okay. Okay. Just asking. I'm trying to be more well traveled. Like I said,
they love the Razorbacks. I know when it dawned on me how close Arkansas was when people were like, you know what? I just drove up here and I'll be able to drive back and go to work in the morning.
Seriously.
And I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
It's like, I'll drive 6 hours.
It's like us going to Minneapolis.
Well, Twitter is freaking out right now because East Coast people are finding out that Midwesterners think that they can drive everywhere because of the Pacers Oklahoma City Thunder series. And they're
how far is that?
11 hours.
740 miles.
All right.
Wow, I would have guessed a lot more.
Yeah, you could hack that.
You could so hack that. You could stay for like a day in Chicago, like sleep overnight somewhere.
See, I don't like.
And then go to Indianapolis.
The trip from here, the drive from here to Chicago, is
tough.
like the max I could do for a weekend trip. That's the so that's 7 and a half.
It's 7. It's 7. If you make no stops, you can do it under 7.
That's like that. That's so Chicago, Denver, Minneapolis. That's the farthest I'll do for like a weekend drive. Like leave on Friday, come back Sunday, because really all you get is Saturday.
I think Indianapolis is the farthest I would go.
Yeah, I would need more. I would need more time.
There would have to be a hell of an event. Like there would have to be like a WrestleMania in Indianapolis, or like the Royal, or Super Bowl, or something like that is really, really memorable for me to go to Indianapolis.
Why? Because we both have made this drive. Why does the drive out to Denver seem so much quicker than the drive home? Driving back from Denver seems to last forever.
Well, because you could start seeing the mountains with like 2 hours left going into Denver. You're like, well, where are we? We're in what's Fort Morgan, Colorado, and you're like, oh, there's some mountains over there. I just got to keep going. I'm almost there. Look, I could see it. No, you can't. It's so far away still. So you're just kind of chasing it.
Nothing. Once you cross the Colorado border from Nebraska,
that's right.
You still have miles and miles of nothing.
I told you guys a story about how I saw the incredible movie style accident in front of me driving out to Denver last year, right? Car flies over the road. I'm dead serious.
I have to.
I was dead serious?
I don't know. I don't know about that, Josh. But it was bad.
I might be making a drive out to Denver. I have to decide, because the weekend of week 1 of Nebraska is the Cincinnati. We're in Kansas City for the Cincinnati game. We will be there. We will be on site.
We will forget.
That weekend, I am going to a wedding in Denver. So I might end up like we're in Kansas City on Wednesday night. Then we're there for the game. Then we're there Friday. And then after the Friday show, I might drive to Denver for the wedding. Instead of going back.
You probably fly for like $4.
You think it's that
from
cheap
KC
of a flight?
to Denver? Yeah.
I haven't checked.
Or enjoy that drive on I-70.
Is that a tough drive,
Western
KC to
Kansas.
Denver?
Oh, that's a bad one.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's long.
It's
long and boring. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm flying. Thanks, guys.
long
Thanks,
and
my
boring.
travel advisors. Guys, people in the chat who are freaking out, who I'm saying you would not drive to Chi-Town to go to Indy. I was talking about driving from Nebraska to Indianapolis. You can stop in Chicago if you wanted to.
Well, you don't want to, though. It's way out of the way.
I'm just saying
you would,
if you wanted to.
It's easier to go down.
Why would you go like
if
2 hours out of your way?
If you're not capable
to go to that dump.
Careful now. Be careful now. Be careful now. All right.
Sorry.
If anything, stopping in Chicago would probably be the best part of an Indiana Pacers trip. Okay.
Nice.
It would definitely be the best part of an Indiana Pacers trip.
I agree with you. For the record, Indianapolis is stupid.
It is stupid. It is not that great of a town.
Whoa! They put on great events.
Because that's all they have. That's why they do it, because there's nothing else to offer. They have to buy so many events because no one else would go to that cruddy town.
Have you had the cocktail sauce? Welcome to Swim Town.
Yeah.
No, well, yeah. We used to be.
They got an NFL team. They got an NBA team. They have a beautiful minor league ballpark. They have a nice downtown. They have the Indianapolis 500 Motor Speedway.
You're just naming sporting events. That's all they got.
They got the NCAA.
Exactly. That's another sporting event.
I heard that they have the Big Ten offices are there too, right? They have
that's Rosemont.
a Fogo de Chao there?
No, that's Rosemont, Illinois.
Damn it.
That's not in Indianapolis.
Well, I don't know. So I've only been to sports in Indianapolis, but I'm sure there's other things.
Have you ever been like,
really
hey,
nice
we want to
place?
go
Yeah,
in cottage? We want to go in cottage in Indianapolis? It's like Joe Kim Noah said. I've never heard anybody vacation in Cleveland before. Like, I've never heard it been like, oh my God, we're going to really excited. We're going to blow out the entire bank savings. We're going to Indy.
We had a chicken at a restaurant.
Congrats. I can go down Dodge.
It was awesome.
There's a place called Dave's Hot Chicken on Saddle Creek. All right. Just go over there.
Oh, come on.
I just had it yesterday. Really good.
Local place.
Really good.
They new concept.
I do have a problem with Dave's Hot Chicken though. I was the only one in that restaurant and they went on the microphone. And they're like,
oh, I love that.
Order 235, order 235. I'm like, dude, I'm the only one here.
I love that.
I think they're required. I think that's union.
Yeah, that's like you can just look at me and be like, "Hey, man, like here's your food." Like I got started.
Hey, I think we need to revisit because you were very passionate about this. The ranking of the worst stretches of road when you're driving from Omaha to Minneapolis, Des Moines, Chicago, Kansas City, Sioux Falls.
We could do a top 5 on this, but the number one is an absolute runaway. Absolute runaway.
Omaha, Des Moines to Omaha on the way home.
Correct. If you're going anywhere east of Des Moines, the stretch from Des Moines west to Omaha on I-80 is the worst. It's a 2-hour drive that feels like it's 7.
So moving out to Lincoln for college, my parents came with me. They made that trip once.
It's horrible.
They were like, we are never doing this again. This is, by the way, my dad who was driving, who makes regular trips from Chicago to northern Minnesota, which is a 9-hour drive, was like, I'm never doing this again. He goes, I saw one wind turbine, and then I saw every wind turbine I'll ever see for the rest of my life.
Good take. Good take by him.
I bet I've made that trip 250 times.
I mean, everybody has. That's where every single...
I'm going home.
I know. I know.
Well, I always hated when you'd come back to school, so I wouldn't leave Urbandale until like Sunday night, like at 8.
Yeah.
So I'd be getting into Lincoln about 11. Man, once you hit Omaha, you're like, oh, I still got an hour to go to Lincoln.
That's arguably that makes it worse. The fact that we have to do it so much. Every trip from Nebraska in the Big Ten now, you have to go east of Des Moines. You have to. And so there's no other way. With the exception of Minneapolis, but you're still using that stretch west of Des Moines.
So I think the stretch north of Iowa State or Ames, the Ames exit to Albert Lee is awful.
Oh yeah,
on 35
until you get to that beautiful Minnesota sign. Welcome to Minnesota, and then there's still like 2 more hours.
I will
right there.
Well, driving in Minnesota, driving in Minnesota is great. I love driving in Minnesota.
Straight shot, right? And then when you finally get into town, the skyline just appears.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
You're in Bloomington or Lakeville, and you can see downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah, you go to the Mall of America.
But even if you go around, like even if you take like there's another side highway that you can just go around Indianapolis, you're literally just in backwoods, and you're just seeing some of the nicest, forests and little rock formations, whatnot. It's a beautiful drive.
So you brought this up, Gary, or no, you brought this up.
By the way, I was totally wrong about stopping off in Chicago. I really thought Indianapolis and Chicago were closer to each other than I recognized.
Yeah.
Not at all. Totally wrong.
So who brought this up? The idea that the people on the East Coast don't know how long drives are and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, they do not.
An email from Colin in White Plains. When I moved to the New York area, the biggest adjustment I had was driving times. Growing up in Southwest Iowa, everyone always used miles to describe driving distance. The assumption was 60 miles equals 1 hour. When I got to New York, everyone uses time to describe distances. How far to Yankee Stadium? 30 minutes. My house is only 21 miles from Grand Central Terminal, but it's at least an hour drive. No one uses miles out here to describe how far away somewhere is. And they shouldn't.
Right.
They shouldn't, because if you do that, then you would have a completely warped sense of how far anything is from you, because it can literally take 45 minutes to drive 3 miles. It's absurd.
I had the same experience opposite. it was always minutes. Anybody ever asked me, how far did you grow up from like downtown? I'm like, like 15, 20-minute drive. Anytime I ever talk to anybody who were like, oh, I'm from Columbus. Oh, I'm from Stanton. Oh, I'm from here. They're like, oh, it's just 45 miles north. I was like, I don't know how long that takes. I don't know what direction that really is. Like, I don't know. Like if you told me I'm just 45 miles north on a map, I would not be able to tell you where specifically you are.
Yeah, I use time mostly too. Like Kansas City's 3 hours south of here. Des Moines is 2 hours east of here. Like whatever it is.
I mean, that's what matters most, I guess, right?
But like the people on the East Coast, if you tell them 2 hours, it'll take you 2 hours to get somewhere. They'll be like, "Oh, so where are we going? Like uptown? You know, like, you know, how long's the drive to DC? It's like 100 miles. I think it's like 5 hours.
It's so inefficient to use miles.
Let's see how far.
It's so inefficient. Well, I have no idea how. It's all about how long. Like Josh said, it's all about how long is it going to take. I have no idea how long.
Well, so
37
this is
miles
where it's even more. So my brother in Los Angeles, he once told my mom that she goes, "Well, how far is it?" And he went with minutes. And she was like, well, on the map, it only says 6 miles. And he goes, it's going to take you 45.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, it's only 6 miles. And he goes, it's going to take you 45
Like if you
minutes.
look at it all, you should be able to just, you know.
What is that when you're doing with your right hand?
It really looks close. Like if you drive New York to Boston, you're like, oh, cool. I'll be there in like an hour, right? You know, it's right up the road. No.
Look how close they are on the map.
Well, also the roads aren't direct either. You know,
no,
the roads aren't straight. What's up with the roads not being straight?
Because they're inefficient. They're just also too.
Our roads are so straight, too straight. I would argue.
Well, you have
look at our city; it's a grid.
Connor, when did they build the roads over there? When did they build the roads over here?
I don't know.
We're talking about
excuses.
They were during the colonial times, so they like to take a long time to do everything back then.
Excuses. Just flatten the thing and build a grid. Build a grid city.
John Mulaney, how do you get lost in New York? It's a grid system.
That's what we've separated the country. We've got 35 up and down, and we got 80.
That's right. Make a cross right across the country. It's a beautiful thing. By the way, speaking of what to do in Arkansas, I got a tweet from Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
We're going to Arkansas next summer because they have a diamond field that you can go to and keep what you find.
Oh. There you go. That's exactly what I was looking for.
There you go.
Will I do that? No, but that's exactly.
So is this like going to the pumpkin patch? Like you go berry picking?
Yeah, that sounds like
it sounds like.
Go to a field and find diamonds?
Yeah,
that sounds
like. Do you bring your shovel?
I don't know. Let me see. Let's go to the website.
That sounds like the beginning of a
Crater of Diamond State Park.
My child went berry picking yesterday.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Strawberries?
Yeah.
I love strawberries.
They were delicious.
Are we going to have some strawberry pie? Made by a wife or you? Well, you don't.
I found out you like strawberries when we got that flower fruit set, and you just started yamming.
Okay, so this is in
Ripping
Murfreesboro, Arkansas.
Cool.
And there are people that are just sitting down digging into the ground to find diamonds.
Yeah, this is a picture that looks really odd.
I saw him do that at Warner Park one day.
Why don't? Okay,
great promotion. Great promotion.
Did it. And you know, there was 1 year where they couldn't find the diamond.
Whoa!
Really?
Yes. So the
what
grounds
was it?
crew
What was it called? It was like dig for a diamond or something like that, and
Diamond Dash.
Yeah, and you let the brides to be come on after the
Yes.
game and literally dig through the infield for a diamond ring.
Yeah, so Borsheim's was the sponsor of it, and they had a very expensive diamond ring, and the grounds crew would bury it. And there was 1 year, because there was a time limit, they didn't find it. So the grounds crew, after everybody was gone, had to go back in the infield, and this was a couple of groundskeepers back, and had to dig up part of his infield to find where this was buried.
Amazing.
Can you imagine? That takes a weird bounce to the left of Terrio.
I think it's been a while since they've done that promotion.
Yeah,
but this is just
a while.
This looks like a field full of gophers, and they're just digging.
But what happened?
You get to keep it though.
Yeah, but like, what happens when you don't find anything?
Well, that's
You
probably
get your
what
money
happens.
back.
That's what happens to most people.
I know. It's like, I don't know. Chances are you're not gonna. Okay.
Is this a scam?
You gonna pay to get in,
and you're not guaranteed to find a diamond?
Pay to get out.
I talking about the whole like miles to time thing, depending on like where you are in the country. I went back home to
15
Chicago.
bucks.
Oh,
$15 to get in.
$15 to
Content.
search for diamonds.
And nobody walks away with anything except for a bag of dirt. It's very interesting.
Wait a minute. Let's go to the famous finds.
yeah. How
I don't
much
know
is
enough
the
about diamonds.
how
Somebody
much-
found a 3 carat
The
in
most
1990.
the most recent one.
Jeez.
So apparently there hasn't been a good one found before. So there was one found in 2024. The Kareen diamond. It's a chocolate colored diamond. Cool, very cool. But before that, there wasn't a notable one since 2015. 10
Whoa.
years.
You might as
Without
well.
What a
finding
grift.
10 years.
You might as well just go and put $15 in the Dragon Cash machine.
President Clinton, what are you doing down there?
The Esperanza diamond in 2015 was found. It's flawless or near flawless, cut and polished in Arkansas by Mike Botha. After cutting and polishing it, it was to be set by Erica Courtney, then auctioned by Heritage Auctions. Bobby Ozarkson was the person who found it.
Wait, somebody with the last name.
Ozark.
Ozarkson.
Yeah, do
down
we trust
there?
that? It's
Yeah.
very interesting, isn't it?
This is a hell of a grift.
Yeah.
It's like when a daily wins a lottery in Chicago.
And then they probably
Oh,
like
really?
every like 5 or 6 years they bury an expensive diamond
Mhm.
just so they keep it going.
Yeah.
Give them a cheap one.
Like they make enough money off of who
They let you-
didn't find diamonds that they buy an actual diamond to put in there.
Like, you
That's
know,
smart.
when they let
That's
you
a great idea.
you know when they let you win the claw game, and
Yeah.
but all you get is like one little tiny like dime, like a rubber ring or something like that, or whatever it is.
Mustache comb.
You can't get the big thing in the claw game.
I blew
You could
through
only-
$15 on a date trying to get something for the claw machine.
What'd you get?
Nothing.
Exactly.
The lobster
Gave
machine
up.
is greater than the claw machine.
What's the lobster machine?
So-
Oh, you can't do that
until this was
anymore, Gary.
outlawed,
Yeah.
There used to be bars where you could fish for a lobster. So just like the claw
Oh,
machine,
yeah, of
but with a
course.
live lobster.
Of course.
And then they would cook it.
Yeah, people
Whether they
are
did food or
really
not.
about the health and safety of lobsters these days.
I don't get it
that's
myself.
What's going on with
It's-
that?
It's a new slant.
Because they don't like when they boil the lobsters and they scream, but it's not screaming. It's just them. It's just the air coming out of them because they're dead.
It's
And so, like, what's the
Connor's
problem?
right.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Why are we trying to defend the
Are
lobster?
they
there's-
becoming extinct?
No, not at all.
no,
There's
they're
so
actually
many.
invasive. If
Yeah.
anything, there's a little company called Apita.
Yeah, they're not.
they're
Pets, though.
they're not big
They're
fans of that.
food.
I will say this though. The minute we get rid of the live lobster tank and lobster restaurants where we can't look at the lobster we're about to eat,
Dude, I think those are gone.
no, they cannot be. I saw it at
I think
Shaw's.
Red Lobster got rid of theirs.
They're still back home.
Mm.
I saw a couple back home. I'm just saying we should not get rid of that. That was always a part of the experience, like getting to see your food alive for the last time before you put it in your stomach. Nothing more powerful.
I know. I need them.
Preaching to the choir.
I
There's-
feel like we're
Josh.
due for a kid in a claw machine story. We haven't had one for a while.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Sneak in the doggy hole.
And people are like, how did they ever get in there?
They're like, I don't know.
I feel like we're due for one.
Nobody could ever answer that question.
I got one from April 7th.
Kid in the claw machine of the week.
The thieving kids stuff little brother into arcade claw machine
Hell yeah.
to steal soft toys.
So they sent him in.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Like an operative.
Have we had like a controversial zoo story recently? Just anybody? We haven't had a kid fall into
No, after that girl got in the middle of the night and tried to make out with a tiger or something, they really locked that place down.
Yeah, that's good.
And Harambe,
Well, not.
That was-
Harambe's
Just
old
had an
news.
anniversary.
That would never happen here.
No. That's twice today that Jackie's story at the zoo has come up on 1620.
Good.
I wanted to go to the Cincinnati Zoo while I was in Cincinnati just to pay tribute,
Oh, yeah.
but I didn't.
They've got to have like a
What?
section, right?
Do you think that they have a?
They have to.
They have to have like the kid was standing
that's a
right
pretty
here.
dark moment for the Cincinnati Zoo.
I think
But
it's the
enough people
greatest
go
moment.
to the spot to go, is this where the kid?
Yeah, wouldn't
They
you?
have to acknowledge
Is
it.
there? Does the Cincinnati Zoo have another moment?
I don't think so. That's it. That's all it's ever been known for.
Popular zoo.
Yeah, good zoo.
Oh yeah.
Not a great zoo.
But
Of course.
for the record,
Doesn't have a desert dome.
here, where the tiger has since passed on, They do not have a sign that says
Oh.
this spot in November of 2015
is where. Do you think there are multiple spots? Like, here's where Harambe died. Here's where the kid fell in. Here's where the sniper was at.
Yeah, I don't. I can't imagine that that's the case.
You got to lean into it.
What would be the perfect tribute is the Mike Francesa clip and then
Gorilla.
Mike Stibbs song.
Gorilla.
A 7
What are
foot
we mad
tall,
about shooting the gorilla?
7 foot tall bronze statue of Harambe
Are you kidding me?
was erected on Wall Street in October of 2021. It was placed across from the Charging Bull statue with 10,000 bananas placed at the bull's base. A civic group designed and installed the statue and bananas to represent the financial disparity on Wall Street. So while not at the Cincinnati Zoo, there is a Harambe statue that exists.
Unbelievable.
So not all gorillas are created equal?
Apparently not. This is the most important one.
They turned Harambe into a financial symbolic symbol.
That's right. Why not? Hoiberg says, I love lobster, but saying they can't feel pain when they're being boiled alive is like your parents telling you your dog went to live on a farm. I'm not saying they can't feel the pain. I'm just saying they're not screaming. That's
Connor.
People say, oh my God, they're screaming.
Connor.
They're not screaming.
Why is the air being let out of their bodies?
They're dying.
Exactly. And there's now noise
I'm
being out of their mouths.
they can't feel the pain.
They are literally screaming. That's what screaming is. Air coming out of your mouth at a high frequency.
They're not.
Yes, they are.
I'm a lobster.
Yes, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm going to be put in
a hang gliding. I'm dead.
I'm going to be in a linguine.
I have a friend who, and this is tough to pull off because he grew up on a farm, is not a fins or feathers. He will not eat anything that is fins or feathers because he grew up where they would fish and he'd kill the fish, but they pluck chickens. And so on their farm, they would kill chickens.
Yeah.
When he was in like high school.
Yeah. Once you see that.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So just a cow.
So he's like fins and feathers. No, I'm out.
Likes cow though.
He eats, yes, a lot of meat.
Good for him.
All right, homies.
That's
All
a
right,
great
welcome
excuse.
back. Thank you.
Try telling that to your doctor. Why do you eat? Why is your cholesterol so high?
Well, he told they had a big operation, a family operation where they plucked chickens and he would kill chickens like at 15 years old. And like when he got out of the house, he's like, I'm not eating chicken.
Yeah, once you do it, I mean, it's probably
once you've killed a chicken,
yeah,
Connor,
you can't unsee it.
You can't go back.
Once you break the seal.
All right, have a good day. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's Crossover, powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everylevelconcrete.com. It's Tuesday, I think. We'll start things off next.
That's the Crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone.
Showers and thunderstorms persisting through the early morning hours here on your Tuesday. Once we get past the noon hour, though, the rumbles of thunder should be gone, but still some rain going on through around 7 p.m. And temperatures will actually descend through most of the day. You're going to wake up to temperatures in the 60s. By the afternoon, we will be in the 50s outside. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
Are you over 50 and constantly feeling tired, bloated, or just a little off? Don't ignore it. Those could be signs that your liver is crying for help. As we age, our liver, which is essential for metabolism, digestion, immunity, and detoxification, needs extra support and protection. If neglected, it can leave you feeling sluggish and constantly off your game. That's where Active Liver from New Nordic comes in. Available in easy-to-take tablets or delicious gummies, Active Liver combines powerful natural ingredients like turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract to help support healthy liver function. With Active Liver, you're giving your body an essential daily defense against toxins from alcohol, fatty foods, and sweets, helping you reclaim your energy, improve digestion, lose the bloat, and strengthen your immunity so you can look and feel your best again. Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hudson with you. Look at this. We found a button on here that makes the comments go on the screen. And so, this is obviously a horrible idea.
Very much so.
But
what could go right?
No, almost nothing could go right. But I'm glad to know that that's an option. We could still put the single comments up on the screen, like Kenneth talking about Harambe, things like that. So we still have that option. But we could also just put the running stream of comments on the screen as well, which is sort of exciting. So we'll see. If it needs to happen, then it will happen. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, back. So Josh in the Connor Happer Show research department yesterday did a little look back. So it's been 2 weeks since we've been in the same studio doing a show together.
That is correct.
All right, here we are.
May 20th.
Like we never left.
That's right.
Like we never left. I was a younger man back then, literally. So were you.
Yeah.
You were in your 30s.
I was.
Happy birthday.
Now I'm in my 40s.
Yeah, I was 32, and now I'm 33. Look at us. Look at us.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I've called multiple NCAA tournament baseball games.
You have.
I've called the Big East Championship.
That's right.
People forget that Creighton won that.
I ran the board for 3 of those games.
Yeah, you did.
That's dumb.
You did. So you got to hear all the sounds of Arkansas.
Very supportive fan base.
They love their hogs. So when they come up to you, they're very nice. They're very respectful.
I do think there's something to that, though, that you were not a threat, so they were very nice and accommodating.
100%. They come up to you and they say, well, and they end the conversation with, well, good luck, unless it's against the Hogs. They say, I hope you win tonight, but I hope you lose tomorrow.
All right, there's a folksy charm to that.
100%.
Okay.
But that was every single person. Like, not just around the ballpark, not just who's wearing Arkansas gear. That's like in town. They're like, oh, you're here with Creighton? He's like, yeah, well, I'm rooting for you unless you play the Hogs. I'm like, all right, great. Thank you.
It's like the embodiment of that bumper sticker that says, my 2 favorite teams are Nebraska and whoever's playing Oklahoma.
Exactly. Yep. So that's pretty much how it goes down there. There's a lot more to it. And yeah, there is. I have some takeaways. I mean, we have sort of a big topic. So I know a lot of what I've missed in not doing shows over the last week is talking about this whole college football playoff nonsense and how the Big Tens and the SEC are basically just trying to rig it in their favor.
Oh, no. Greg Sankey said if it was up to me, I'd have no. He did the thing again.
Totally, Greg Sankey.
Yeah, well, if it was up to me, there'd be no AQs. But
I got to find this guy at the College World Series this year. Do you think he'll do it again? Do you think he would?
No.
I still have his number.
No, because it's not. They're going to have a max of 3 teams in.
That's true.
So it's not gonna be, hey, we run this thing.
That's true.
Now the ACC commissioner, you might be able to get on because they could have
quite a few teams. Jim Phillips, the former athletic director at Northwestern, would join the game broadcast.
Yeah, I do, because
I don't have his number though.
If they had they could have 6 teams in or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's we have our super regionals, by the way. So there's a topic on that I want to get into today, and we'll try and kind of wheel all that stuff together with the teams that we have in the super regionals, and then we'll kind of compare it and look at the college football playoff as well. Trust me, it will make some sense when we do that here in just a little bit. I have multiple questions for you all. What are we freaking out about? There has to be something that we're freaking out about. I don't know. There has to be something that we're freaking out about right now. What are we freaking out about? Is it Nebraska baseball? Are we over that? We should probably be over that, but are we over that?
Just based on doing a show yesterday.
A lot of people love talking. This is like the 3 days a year where everyone's like, well, we have to talk about expectations. And I'm like, nobody could ever figure this out. We'll never find an answer to this.
I tried to do that yesterday and nobody seemed willing to no, Nebraska baseball should be this. Everybody was kind of like, yeah, we thought they'd get to a regional. They got to a regional. It didn't go very well.
You know what that tells you? It actually ended up pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Everybody I asked yesterday, I asked Sam and I asked Schaefer, was it a net positive, net negative, kind of a push? Everyone agreed. Yeah, it was kind of a push.
Yeah, kind of a push.
Didn't look the way we thought it would, but the goal was to get to a regional. They got to a regional and it didn't go well.
That's exactly right. So we'll do a little bit of that. We won't ask the question, but I just want to know what we're freaking out about. Is there anything registering on the instance of panic scale? Is it this punter thing?
I got nothing on that yesterday.
Okay. Let me know if there's anything registering on the instance of panic scale. I heard that Josh Odson talked about the NBA on TNT for a long time yesterday.
I did 20 minutes on Inside the NBA. I don't know how good it was, but I talked about the Inside the NBA coming to ESPN for 20 minutes.
Good job by you.
Yesterday.
I got a little bit more on it. I have a prediction coming up during the show today. We'll go to athletic director corner.
Ooh. We don't go there often.
No, we'll talk about a good Wikipedia page of the day. And I genuinely don't know what's going on with Stephon Diggs, but I know that people keep talking about him. So
I will catch you up.
Josh has to tell me about these things. This is the great part about just not having to care about anything else but Creighton baseball for 6 days in a row. And really 10 out of the last 14 days, I've just only cared about Creighton baseball pretty much. And I just totally dove into that world and nothing else really mattered to me. It was kind of nice. It's completely different than normal.
What an existence.
So I got to understand some things that happened over the last couple weeks, and Josh is going to help me out with that one. Allan Bell will join the show today. He is our lone guest. That is the lineup powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We'll also have MLB Reaction, Overreaction today. That's where we'll talk about Jack Caglione.
Oh, yes. Everyone was waiting with bated breath for your public comments on the person you said you'd marry.
He's coming home, except for it's in St. Louis tonight. And according to Royals general manager J.J. Piccolo, he will hit 5th or 6th and play more right field than anywhere else, but they will DH him tonight to help his transition to the major leagues.
Oh, that's very kind of them.
Very nice.
You can hear his major league debut on 1180 The Zone tonight.
And you can DH him in a National League ballpark because those are the rules now.
Yes. Yes.
Remember when you used to be able to not do that, and then you'd have like Danny Duffy hitting? That's weird. I missed that kind of, though.
I was an NL guy, and I was like, no, the NL does not need a DH, and now I totally get it. Why have an automatic out in your lineup?
Yeah, but it's cool. It's
watching
unique.
a pitcher hit a home run is really cool.
It's
I know.
quirky.
I know.
It's
It is.
It's like having the tiniest baby stadium when your team is full of future major leaguers at the college level.
That's right.
Super weird. I don't know why it happens. You don't need it to happen, but it happens for some godforsaken reason. I don't know. And thank you for saving this for me until I get back, Josh. The top poll questions of the month of May.
That's right.
And keep in mind, I missed like half the month. So
that's right.
Can't wait to see what we bring in June when I'll miss half the month.
Well, those village shows may not equate to a bunch of poll questions.
But there will be some. There will be some that happen in there. All right. So welcome to the show. Thanks for holding it down, Josh. There's a lot of thank yous to go around. Thanks to, but you most, you have the biggest thank you coming from me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for
hashtag thank you, Josh. Send it into Twitter on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. I forgot I have to do all that stuff too. You can call or text 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Email Connor Josh Show at 1620thezone.com and the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Tweet at Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today who say, thank you, Josh. Hashtag thank you, Josh.
Many are saying,
Great.
who am I to say no?
Maybe this is where I put the comments up on the stage when
yeah.
they start rolling in. People will start saying, thank you, Josh. Mike says, love you, Joe.
Might be a typo in there.
Maybe. All right. Off and running here on a Tuesday. Thanks for being with us. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. boy. All right. You ready for this?
I don't know.
The College Football Power Index from ESPN is out.
Oh, wow.
This is the FPI. The FPI.
This is big, everybody.
It is. It's huge.
By the way, Matt Rule talked to Phil Steele.
Whoa.
Phil Steele did the tweet. Thank you, Matt Rule.
Well, next time I go to the airport, I'll get a Phil Steele magazine.
That's right.
I think last year I got it digitally so I could read it still on the airplane. But I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be any planes coming up this summer, so I don't know if I'll read any of the magazines. I don't know if I'll have time.
Sad.
Maybe there'll be another long bus trip in there somewhere where I can read the magazines. I tell you what, I told you guys this on Thursday. The 6 hours of not driving and just traveling, it's sort of freeing in a way. You really come up with a lot of stuff to do and catch up on things.
Because you're a big drive guy normally.
I love driving.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love driving, but I do realize that during that time in which you're driving, you're not being productive outside of driving. I let somebody else do the productive driving part, and then I can be productive in other ways. It feels really great. Anyway, the FBI's here, or at least it's undergone an update. So for whatever reason in our poll culture, the number 25 is a outstanding number.
Top 25,
right? If you're in the top 25, that is good. Eventually, it'll probably be a top 30 with like the SEC will be like, we don't have enough teams in the top 25. We need to have a top 30. And then the next 4 teams will each be like 26, 27, 28, 29. So maybe it'll be a top 30 next year. But for now, we have a top 25. And so you wonder. And then when the season preview magazines come out and the lists come out, they're like, here's a thing to be worried about for every top 25 team. They don't do it for number 26, right? They do it for the top 25.
Right.
So you're wondering if you're in that top 25. Is Nebraska in that top 25 of the FBI that was released today? Yes.
Whoa.
Whoa is right, Josh. Whoa is right. All right.
That's awesome.
Yep. We're back.
I did not see that coming.
Nebraska, they project them to go 7.5 and 4.5.
Right.
So basically, I mean, the win total.
The half game?
The win total is exactly perfect at this. So it will be between 7 and 8. But they do the percentage chances at the various like milestones on this. So according to ESPN's analytics and the FPI, they said that Nebraska has an 86% chance to end up with 6 wins or more.
Come on.
Book your bowl game tickets.
We're going to
somewhere. They have a 1.5% chance to win the conference. They have a 10.3% chance to make the playoff.
Whoa. Hello.
Okay, let's see where that ranks.
10% chance?
A 10% chance to make the playoff. So that ranks, and they don't do the ranking on the side 3. Oh, you got to give me a second on this.
Okay. I mean, that just on the surface, that seems like a really good percentage for a team that isn't a Georgia, Ohio State, Notre Dame.
They give Nebraska about the 30, in the top 30 of teams to make the playoff.
You're in the mix.
I mean, the playoff is 14 teams. So, like, for example, Texas, who has the top chance to make the playoff, according to ESPN's FPI, has an 84% chance to make the playoff. It's amazing. We go to the season with an 84% chance to make the playoff. Honestly, that seems like kind of low. Like kind of low. I don't know. Like, Texas, Georgia, Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State, like those teams are going to be in the playoff.
Right.
There's almost no way that they miss the playoff at this point. If they do, people could start getting fired and there would be upheaval. Especially if it's Ryan Day at Ohio State. Yeah, they want to fire that guy really bad. So there you go. Nebraska has a 10% chance to make the playoff and an 86% chance to win 6 games. 7.5 and 4.5 is their projected win total. So let's check on some others. Let's just check on our friends over here. Obviously, the next one I go to is the Iowa Hawkeyes. What What does it project Iowa at? Iowa. 6.2 and 5.8.
Whoa.
39th in the FPI. Excuse me? Wisconsin, 5.6 and 6.5. So basically 6 and 6. Same as Iowa, 6 and 6. Nebraska, if you round up, is 8 and 4 on this. Very, very interesting. Let's look at the rest of the Big Ten real quick before we take a break. Ohio State 10 and 2. Penn State 10 and 2. Oregon 10 and 2. Michigan just a little, basically 8 and 4. USC basically 8 and 4. Nebraska basically 8 and 4. Washington basically 7 and 5. Indiana basically 8 and 4. And then there are Wisconsin's, Iowa's, Minnesota's, Illinois. Everybody's real high on Illinois this year, but I'm not buying it.
Oh,
I'm not buying it. And then you go all the way down the list. There you go. FBI's here, ladies and gentlemen. Can't wait. So this actually, goes, do Kansas, please. Mike wants to know. I could do Kansas. How about that baseball team, right?
Oh no. No, he didn't.
8 and 4. 30th in the FPI.
Hello.
87% chance to win 6 games. So basically the same as Nebraska. There's your answer, Jayhawkskers, who are sitting out there. So this goes perfectly into our next conversation about, it's going to reel in, it's going to bring in college baseball, it's going to bring in college basketball, it's also going to bring in the college football playoff. Stick with me on this winding road. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
It's in the inbox from Iowa. Iowa has sent me an email. The continuation of the renovation of Dwayne Banks Field, home of Iowa Hawkeye baseball, will be approved next week. Will be approved next week. The second phase of a donor-funded project to improve the game day experience would consist of reconstructing the press box, adding new seating and other improvements, including an ADA-compliant restroom. They didn't have that before. And ramp to connect the new clubhouse and the first baseline grandstand. A new seating bowl will be added to the two main fan entrances, and new aluminum bleacher system will be constructed in the main grandstand seating area with a new press box positioned atop the seating bowl. A new cable tension ball netting system spanning the entire distance of the existing and new grandstands will be installed. Look at this. $5.8 million.
That was a lot of words for a net and some bleachers.
And a press box.
And a press box,
Josh. Something that I, from talking to people, a little light on over there at Iowa baseball. But investment. It's a perfect segue into this, into part of this conversation as well, Josh. All right, so we got super regionals, and some of the top seeds are out of the tournament. The top two seeds are out of the tournament. And I always see, and we're going to hear this conversation a lot over the next couple of weeks with the College World Series moving into Omaha next week. Maybe not as much, considering there might not be quite as much SEC flavor as there usually is around here. But I always hear people talk about how college baseball and college basketball is top heavy, and it gets even more top heavy, right? Because of the way the game has changed and because of the new rules that teams can take advantage of. And don't get me wrong, seeing what Arkansas has this weekend is illuminating. I mean, it's eye-opening. So I'm not denying the fact that the sport is, the top of the sport gobbles up the bottom of the sport, or in even the middle of the sport in some cases. When teams go to these regionals that aren't in, if you're going to play a regional at Arkansas, if you're going to play a regional at Tennessee, if you're going to play a regional at LSU, or, any of those big SEC programs, even Vanderbilt, if you're going to play a regional down there, one of the things in the back of your mind, if you're a pretty good Northern school, is, oh my God, I hope nobody sees this. I hope it's not on TV. Why? Because you don't want your players to get stolen. That's a real thing that people have to worry about.
That's why Matt Rule doesn't do spring games anymore.
I don't want anybody to see, and whether it be players, getting contacted by SEC schools, or whether it's like draft eyes that are on them as well, scout eyes. Those guys don't make it to the Midwest a whole lot unless there's like really, really top guys. And if you get a regional situation, you got a chance to see some good players all in one spot, and you stay there for a couple of days, it changes the game. So I'm not denying that is still the case, and it's absolutely top heavy. But we have a regional 4 seed in the super regional for the third year in a row, and the fourth time in 5 years. Little Rock could have been the second regional 4 seed to make a super regional last night, but they fell short against LSU. So we have Murray State, who's in a super.
Murray.
We have Evansville, who randomly made the super in 2024.
People forget.
Oral Roberts made a super and a College World Series in 2023.
People do not forget.
South Florida in 2021, a regional 4 seed under head coach Billy Moll, by the way, Creighton pitching coach, made a super regional. And there was Fresno in 2008.
People do not forget.
No, nor should they, Josh.
Yeah.
They won the whole damn thing.
The whole thing.
Stony Brook made the College World Series as a regional 4.
Your boys.
My guys, the Sea Wolves, I think.
That's right.
Thank you. So we've got history here now of regional 4s making their way into the Super Regionals, a.k.a. the Sweet 16 of college baseball.
It is.
It is the Sweet 16 of college baseball. SEC teams, top of the top. Vanderbilt is gone. Texas is gone. Georgia is gone. Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Florida, Mississippi State, all gone from this tournament. That's 3 national seeds, 4 regional hosts, and some 2s that had a chance. Every year everybody's like, oh, well, this team could go all the way to Omaha, if you get them in the right situation. But all those teams out. This doesn't even include preseason number 1 Texas A&M failing to make the tournament entirely. People forget about that, Josh.
That's right.
Thank you for reminding me of that. So this is basically the equivalent of 13 plus seeds making the Sweet 16. Last team to do that in basketball was St. Peter's in 2022. Oral Roberts did it in 2021. How about Oral Roberts, by the way?
Yeah.
Look at that.
They're good to pop one every now and then.
So here's the point. There's no doubt that it's top heavy. And once again, I can tell you this firsthand after seeing the best team left playing in the country this weekend up close. Everything they have, it is quite literally unbelievable. It is a different world. So there is an imbalance in the sport. There is an imbalance in the sport. But yet, I mean, look at Arkansas's lineup. They'll be here next week. It's all transfers. How much do you think they paid each of those guys to come to, how much do you think they paid Cam Kojal to transfer from Vanderbilt and hit 5th in their lineup? They got a National Player of the Year candidate who's a transfer. They got their top line starting pitcher who's a transfer. I mean, there's 6 of them in their starting lineup, and they're everywhere. How much do you think why do you think they're at Arkansas? Yeah, because they're great and they win games, but they have incredible facilities. You don't get supported better anywhere, and you get a little money to go along with it. So firsthand, you get to see the spread and how different it is. It's a completely different world. And yet, Josh, we have parity. How is this possible? Yet we have parity. Every year now, there is a tiny school you've never heard of making it on the national stage before inevitably getting clobbered at some point.
Sure.
Unless you're Fresno State in 2008. But, at some point, life will hit you. But every year, there's a 13-plus seed making the Sweet 16. There's a regional 3 and a 4. And I'm not talking about like Florida being a regional 3 making the College World Series last year. I'm talking about like Little Rock.
Little Rock had a losing record.
Yes, Little Rock literally had to squeeze to get into their conference tournament.
They were the 8th seed in whatever the hell conference they play in.
They had to win the last couple games of the regular season just to get into the conference tournament. So that team pushed LSU all the way to Game 7 of a regional, right? And then we got Murray State, who's in a super regional. So we have this top-heavy nature of the sport. We have this split in the sport. It's completely different sports between Arkansas and Murray State or Little Rock and, LSU or whatever it is. But yet, we still have parity. So to football, why don't these same rules apply to football? Why don't these same rules apply to football? We never see this in football. There's no Murray States of football, right? There's no,
right.
That's really never happened. Think about it. Think about the history of, and I'm about to get into the reasons in a second, but there's no team that's with the exception of, I guess, Boise State.
That's the one I was thinking of. And not even Boise State now, but Boise State 25 years ago.
Correct.
When they emerged onto the scene, that is what it felt like. That Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma felt like a 13 over whatever.
There's been upsets. Mm-hmm. There's been the Appalachian states and all of those things, but we're talking about in a postseason environment, in a playoff environment, or in a significant bowl game environment. In my mind, there are a few reasons. First, it's kind of the nature of the sport, right? It's just kind of how their seasons work. Baseball and basketball are large sample size regular seasons with incredibly small sample size postseason. There's a reason why Mike Farron comes on the afternoon show every week And he says, well, I think it's too early to tell. But then in the same breath, he says, it's really about making the playoffs. And then if you get there, you just have your fingers crossed the entire time. By design, there is no guarantee or nowhere close to a guarantee that the best team will win each of those sports postseason. It's just really hard. It's really, really hard to get there, and it's really hard to do that because not only do you have to be really good, you have to make sure the other team is not really good on any given night. One little slip up, margin for error is so small. So large sample size regular seasons, small sample size postseasons, you're going to get some parity in those sports. But I think more importantly, and this is where we talk about the news of the last week, more importantly in college football, the postseason is literally rigged. It's literally rigged.
Connor.
It denies access to small schools and now is trying to flood it with even more one-seed types. That's what the Big Ten and the SEC are trying to do. They're not trying to give access to everybody else. They're trying to flood it with more. Yes, and there's financial implications of that, obviously, and the rich continue to get richer. But why don't we, so everyone talks about how the college baseball postseason is perfect. Don't touch it. The college basketball postseason tournament is perfect. Don't touch it. We love those two postseason formats. I think they're great. Don't touch them. Absolutely. And yet, every single year for the history of time, we're sitting here yelling at college football because it can't get its postseason right. Don't you find that amazing? Do you find it amazing that every single year we talk about how great the college basketball and baseball postseasons are? And in football, we've been arguing about it since the beginning of time. And with every passing day, the ideas get dumber and dumber and dumber, and it gets worse and worse and worse. Don't you find that interesting?
I do.
I'm not saying that you have to make the college football postseason like the other postseasons, but what I am saying is the access is the reason why you see the parity. You have to decide what you want? Do you want the parity? Or do you want the best teams to win? If you want the best teams to win, then continue to find ways where the best teams will win. College football is literally rigged in order to do that. It's a playoff built for them. The baseball and the basketball tournaments are tournaments that are not built for the top teams to win. They're nothing like the regular season.
This is true.
But we love their postseasons. We love their postseasons. No matter, now, this is a personal preference. Do you want your sport? Do you want your postseason to mirror the regular season?
Well, that's what I'm sitting over here trying to think.
Or do you want do you want the parody, or do you want the show? Because what happens in college basketball and college football is that nobody really watches the regular season, or I shouldn't say nobody, very, few people care about the regular season. And then when the tournament gets here, they say, oh my God, this is incredible. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm along for the ride for the next 4 weeks. Same thing with college baseball. This is incredible. I have no idea what's going to happen. Somebody is going to lose. That one of the 2 or the 3 of the top 8 seeds are going to lose in this tournament, and it's going to be embarrassing for them. Mm-hmm. But I don't know which one, and I don't know how it's going to happen. That's because of how the system works. That's because of how the playoff works. Now, college baseball fans might look at that and say, well, that's not baseball. It's completely and totally different. And it is. So it's about what you want. But we sit here and we spend all this time arguing about the college football playoff and what it needs to be. And I'm not saying that what they have or what they have had is like the worst thing in the world. We keep changing it, and ultimately you're going to have to answer the question of what do you want? What do you want out of this? Baseball and basketball have decided long ago that they think their postseason is really, really valuable to the entire product, and that's the time where they get eyes on it. So let's make it crazy to the detriment of their top teams. It does nothing to protect them.
Right.
Right. You're going to have to play and earn it to get in, and you're going to have to be in a bunch of game 7s over and over and over and over again in the basketball tournament. Think about that. To win a national championship in basketball, you have to win 6 Game 7s in a row. It's not a series. It's 6 Game 7s.
LeBron's never done that.
No, he wouldn't dream of it. Right?
Do you think if like a Bowling Green got in the college football playoff and went on a run, do you think people would embrace that? Or do you think people would be like, man, I just can't get up for Texas versus Bowling Green?
Great question.
I got to spend 4 days talking myself into watching Bowling Green versus Texas.
I think people would support Bowling Green, but it's so baked into the culture of the sport now for people to be like, what? Why is SMU in the playoff?
Yeah, like,
let's put them at 11 o'clock. You know what I mean?
I mean,
you see how that's different?
In the moment, like, you see on Twitter, like, hey, there's 7 minutes left and SMU is about to pull the upset. Like, okay, I got to change the channel and watch that.
But that
like,
game was a blowout.
In the moment, it's exciting, but like the talk around the game, which is, sometimes just as big as the game, there's nothing to talk about, right?
Yeah, if SMU would have competed in that game, obviously people are rooting for SMU. But I think in college football, we tend to root for, it's baked into the culture and the DNA of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of are front runners in college football.
We want brand on brand. We want a big number.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
100%. In football, it's just a little bit different. Baseball and basketball, it's wacky and it's wild, and you could get any result based off of that. Like SMU is not like a mid-major school, right? I mean, that's a pretty good program, and they've won a lot of games, and they're in the ACC. People forget. People forget
they're in the ACC for free.
They are in the ACC.
They said, we do not need any revenue.
Yeah, I don't want the payout. I'll just be in the ACC. So, but the point is, like, that's a pretty good program. So I hate to compare them to Little Rock baseball or Oral Roberts baseball or something like that. But even then, when they played Penn State in the playoff this year, nobody thought they were going to win. And so much so, they put it in the worst time slot.
Here, TNT, you can have
They put it on Saturday. They put it on the first game on Saturday morning. And there was the games Friday, and then there was the game Saturday. They put it in I guess it was the one game Friday, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday, right? Isn't that how it worked with the playoff this year?
I think you're correct.
They put it in the early morning window. You're like, okay, this is going to be our lowest rated game, so might as well just get it over with. And then SMU got, they threw like a pick right away, and it was over. Pretty much. So that's the difference in the in the sports and in the playoffs. Got a couple things here from the Equitable Bank inbox. Here's John.
Hi, John.
Really good to hear from John again. I had received a stray email or two over the last few days when you guys were doing shows, and I'm like, I wonder what they're talking about. And I had received an email or two. That was good to see. But John writes in,
hi, John.
He says, I don't care what tournament it is. When Texas gets beat, or even better, doesn't make it, I love it. Okay, fair enough.
That's true. There are perma villains in the sport, right?
Adam writes in,
hi, Adam.
It'd be hard to get up for Bowling Green versus Texas in the college football playoffs simply for the fact that deep down everyone knows that it would be a horrible game.
Yeah,
exactly. There's no chance of an upset. No chance of life, Josh.
But I definitely tuned into Little Rock versus LSU last night because
100%.
It's baseball.
It's
There's
a
always a
baseball
chance.
game.
Connor, I just want everyone to wrap their heads around what happened last night. Little Rock could have won that game last night, advanced to the Super Regional, won the 2 games required to make the College World Series, and still would have had a losing record.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't like...
North Dakota State pushed Creighton, and
Yeah.
they almost made the regional final.
Yeah.
They had 20 wins.
Like, my God.
They had beat Creighton earlier
Yeah.
So you start putting baseball games in one-game scenarios, and you got no idea what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You get hot for a month, and all of a sudden the Royals are in Game 7 of the World Series in 2014. It's very odd.
That happened.
I don't understand how that happened, but it did happen.
It was great.
It was fantastic. Thank
Remember
you for
that
saying
game against the A's?
I do. The Oakland A's,
As God intended.
those were good times. Those were good times. Jeff writes in, he says, baseball is weird. It's all about how your pitching matches up. Right. In a lot of scenarios, that's the truth. Now, once again, you don't depending on how you like what you want out of your tournament, because all this is going to happen, Josh, and what we're going to end up with in our College World Series and our Elite Eight is maybe not a whole lot of juice there. Maybe not a whole lot of pop there.
A lot of ACC and
There's a couple
little guy, quote unquote.
There'll be a couple really good teams and a bunch of wow, they made a nice run to get here. Sometimes them's the breaks. Sometimes that's the way it happens. So you might not like that. If you like the regional round, if you like the entire tournament in general, you probably absolutely love what you saw this weekend. It was awesome. There was stuff going on all the time everywhere. Teams were getting pushed that were not supposed to be pushed at all.
And a lot of runs were being scored.
So many runs, so many tiny baby ballparks.
The Chuck, not so much.
That's a big ballpark, Josh.
Big ballpark.
Jeff also follows up. He says a B-ball is similar. A guy or two can get hot from three, and
Jack Golke.
Bang, there you Jack Golke. I watched it happen with my own eyes.
That's right. In person.
It was real. The Kentucky fans were stunned. They were like, what? Who is this guy?
We're Kentucky. Look at all those McDonald's All-Americans on the court. And they can't do a damn thing.
In a one-game scenario, sometimes it just doesn't matter. You have to be willing to live with that a little bit. In football, there's no possibility of that. It's suffocating, right? And like I said, some of that is just the nature of football. But the other part of it is access. We don't let it happen. If you made a playoff that was conducive to, or certainly more conducive to, number one, allowing those teams in, allowing good mid-major, quote-unquote, group of five conference champions in the college football playoff, and not just one of them. We're talking about all of them. If you let those guys in and you do it 20 years, there's going to be 3 or 4 of them that win against Texas in the first game or against Georgia in the first game. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know in what world that happens, but it would happen if you give it enough time. And football has just never been a sport where we do that. We don't do the little guy in football.
Right.
In basketball, we love the little guy. In baseball, we love the little guy. And we love their postseasons. And in college football, we don't like the little guy, and we hate their postseason, and we can't figure out how to do it right. I just find those things interesting, and I think they match up pretty well. Go ahead.
Quickly, as we're winding down, about to go to break, just do want to pass along.
This is about Jack Caglione?
No, you can pass that along. I'll pass this along. There's a new member of the Great Navy of the state of Nebraska.
A member of the Navy?
That's right. The newest admiral is Jordy Ball.
Wait.
Please refer to her now as Admiral Jordy Ball.
Wait.
Governor Jim Pillen hosted a ceremony at the state capitol today honoring Jordy Ball with the title of Admiral in the Great Navy of the state of Nebraska.
Why do we do this?
For clicks. Call him Governor Jim Clickin.
Why do we do this? Why did Keisei Tominaga have to have a day or whatever that was?
For political clout, Connor, Senator Barry D. DeKay.
Barry D. DeKay?
Terrible name.
That is awful.
Hi, I'm Senator DeKay.
Yeah.
Think about that for just
the dentist.
2 seconds. But I'm going to guess there's some aligning viewpoints there.
Barry D. DeKay.
He had to throw the D in there, right? Because
Barry DeKay.
And anything to...
All right.
You got to go with a stage name at that point.
Congratulations to Admiral Ball.
Admiral Ball.
Back after this with Allan Bell on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Allan Bell, the AB3 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, here we go. Allan Bell of Driving the Line is with us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Allan, hello. How are you?
Good afternoon, my friend. How we doing?
Fantastic. Just got back from a weekend in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It was It was lovely.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Fayetteville's nice, man.
Yeah, got to see a couple good games, and then Arkansas kind of steamrolled us. So we got to the regional final. We like that.
Yeah, there you go. You know what? Hey, look, Arkansas steamrolled a lot of folks. Don't feel too terribly bad. I saw them do the same to Tennessee. They just ran all over them. Arkansas, good baseball team.
So you know this better than most at this point. I don't know how they deal with it down there. All the ballparks are Mickey Mouse ballparks, and that one in particular, a fly ball, just like it's you got to be worried about it. Our outfielders, both of the team's outfielders, were standing on the track for basically the entire game. Something has to be done about this. I don't know what, but and I'm not saying go back to the initial days, the BB core or anything like that, but my goodness, we got a lot of runs scored in this tournament.
Yeah, and that's the thing about college baseball. You're right, because there are a lot of ballparks. Like you said, Mickey Mouse. Look, Knoxville, I don't know if you've been there or not. I mean, I played on a high school field that is actually larger. You know what I mean? So there are some spots to where, they get pretty small. Now, sometimes that helps teams advance, but it also can hurt teams when they get to Omaha, because that ain't no little park.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you take a step up into the major leagues with that one. So, yeah, I don't know if there's an answer to it, but your question is very valid in the fact that you're right, man. Sometimes, like, you just hit a fly ball and there's a little humidity in the air, it's gone. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. That was definitely the case down there. Arkansas's 120 home runs on the season now, which is
Yes.
It's pretty good. That like basically everybody in their lineup has 15 apiece at this point. So coming off of the regional weekend, we go into the supers. We lose a lot of the SEC flavor as you look at what we have here. What do you like on the board, and as we set things up for our Omaha 8 next week?
Yeah, dude. I mean, okay, you're right, man. I mean, and look at the seeds we lost. Vanderbilt gone.
Yep,
Texas
1, 2.
Gone.
Yep.
Right. I mean, this basically, if this were NCAA basketball, like, all the 1 seeds are done. It's nuts, man. I'm fascinated to see what Duke. I mean, they've got themselves a little setup here to where they could make a run. West Virginia and LSU, that's going to be the super regional fan base series that we all wish we were at. A tailgate, because those two fan bases are going to be wild.
Yep.
Auburn might make a little run, but same thing with Coastal Carolina playing against each other. And then, Tennessee running into that buzzsaw known as Arkansas. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. So a couple things, just looking ahead. We don't know exactly what the College World Series is going to look like yet, but you hinted at it a little bit. So there's a portion of the bracket that is the winner of the UCLA Super, the UTSA UCLA, and the winner of the Murray State Duke. Those are going to play each other, and then they're in the same bracket as the LSU, the potential LSU and Arkansas matchup.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting. We could be seeing a UTSA Murray State first game in the College World Series, which is extremely exciting.
Oh yeah. Hey, and I'll say the same, like, we've talked about this in football, and we talked about it leading into the regionals, that Texas ran into you don't want to play a team in the same state deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not good, and we're not calling anybody big brother, little brother, anything like that, but, dude, it is real when you're playing teams in the same state. So, yeah, I mean, looking at it like, dude, a UTSA, Murray State, I want that just for the insanity, and then, you could be running into Arkansas or LSU, which Dude, shout out to Little Rock.
Yep.
I mean, I thought they were going to take LSU out yesterday or last night. I was like, dude, this might be happening, man. It took a miraculous comeback. But that left side, man, like Louisville and Miami, right? Whichever one. Louisville's a pretty good baseball team. You got Florida State and Oregon State. And I mean, dude, this could be one of the weirder College World Series that we've seen, depending on how it breaks out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll let you respond to this. The best two teams that I saw this weekend are Arkansas and North Carolina, and just so happened that locally, Nebraska ended up in Chapel Hill and Creighton ended up in Fayetteville. So maybe we're a little bit too close to it there, but I'm pretty convinced, especially with those top two seeds out, North Carolina and Arkansas look like the best two at this point.
I completely agree. And they can do it all, man. They can pitch, they can hit, they're deep. They're going to be tough out. Now, Florida State, they can play, but they've got some vulnerabilities. I'm with you, man. Like, and this is not denigrating anyone, right? But I completely agree. Arkansas and North Carolina, those are two complete teams, man. Like, you have to play perfect baseball to beat them because they're not going to beat themselves.
Elsewhere, I know you talked about this on the podcast today. Is everybody pretty excited? Is baseball, like, I'm too close to it because I've been following it very, very closely, for a long time now. But is everybody very excited about the big debut that we have tonight in St. Louis with Jack Caglione?
Yes, dude. Everybody is excited, right? And my favorite part is going to be all 19 different pronunciations of his name. You're going to get Jack Caglianone. You're going to get Jacques Caglione. Like, that's going to be my favorite part, right? But I'll tell you, this kid is awesome, man. He's wholesome. He's a good kid. I don't know if everybody's seen the video of him getting called up.
Yeah.
Like, he thought he was in trouble, right? And then he's like, I got to go call my dad. Like, dude, he's just awesome, man. He's a guy that you want to root for. And the interesting part is, like, he can obviously hit, run, mash. Like, he could also pipe in 98. Like, this dude is literally a 5-tool player, man. And they've got great weather tonight, too, for hitting. This could be a spot for him, man.
Good.
Great hitting weather. Oh, yeah.
You mentioned the humbleness. It's certainly something that comes off for him. He was disappointed in talking to Omaha Storm Chasers manager Mike Jershely that he couldn't stay another day because he was going to take a trip to the zoo yesterday. Omaha is a fantastic zoo. I'm sad he didn't get to go, but he'll take a trip to the major leagues, I guess.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think the big league club, will allow him on a day off. He can go over to that Omaha zoo, which I have heard is phenomenal, right?
It's the best.
And, dude, like, this guy, I'm so excited. Like, and I'm not even a Royals fan, but just because, I don't live there, but, like, he is going to be the perfect fit for this organization. And there are so many hitters around him, too. Like, I'm fascinated to see how and where they put him in the lineup and then, kind of subsequently move him around. Because there are a lot of good hitters, man. Like, I can't wait to watch him. It's the start of something. This kid is special for sure.
The game total for Oklahoma City, Indianapolis, Indiana, the Indiana Pacers. Gosh. In the NBA Finals, the total games is 5.5. The juice is on the under. So people think this is going to be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. What say you?
Yeah, look, I think it's going 6. Like, I'll take the over. Like, I think that, don't get me wrong, man, the Thunder are deep and the Thunder are good. But, to do that, essentially, we just need Indiana to steal one game, because if they can do that, then they can take 2. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Pacers can win this series. Like, we're not counting them out at all. But we just need them to steal one, especially if they can do it game 1 or game 2. Tough ask. I mean, game 1, the Thunder are 9.5-point favorites. But, yeah, man, like, I'm going to go over. I think that we do have a good series because if there's one thing you can say about Indiana, there's not a lead that's safe with them boys.
That's true.
They can come back on anybody. But I think we all agree, though, that it's probably the Thunder that are going to take this thing, man. That team is deep and they're good.
Maybe they'll be, maybe the Pacers could be the Little Rock to,
Hey!
That's what I'm talking about. You never know. Roll the ball out there, and on any given day, you could beat LSU.
That's why we play the game, man.
All right, AB. Great to talk to you. Next week we'll have a College World Series field. Exciting.
Hey, excited indeed, man. Good to talk to you, buddy. Y'all have a good one. Take care.
Allan Bell, Driving the Line. You can check out his podcast there. You can find him on Twitter at Allan G. Bell. It's got some NBA stuff up there. Can you believe that? 5.5 for the series total games. I mean, I shouldn't say can you believe that. It's like, what do you think about that? Because I can definitely believe it.
Here's what I believe. I believe that you can bet the correct series order. I think we could all figure out the order if it were to go 5.
OKC. What if you did OKC straight sweep? It's plus 290.
Mm-hmm. If you did the gentleman's sweep option, OKC, Indiana winning game 3, their first home game, which is the logical game that Indiana would win if they're going to win one, right? OKC wins the next 2 for a gentleman's sweep plus 680. Hello.
So how does the gentleman's sweep work? Is it any sweep or is it any one game only winner, or does it have to be the 4th game?
I've always considered any 5-game series a gentleman's sweep.
Any sweep is a gentleman's sweep. Any of those sweeps is a gentleman's sweep. Okay. I guess it's not a sweep at all. This is new for me. The whole gentleman's sweep thing is like new for me over the last like 5 or 10 years.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I never used to refer to it as that. I just used to say, oh, they won in 5. And then this whole Knicks in 5, Knicks in 6.
Oh yeah, we always got to run that back.
Celtics in 6 thing.
Whenever your team loses, you just say our team.
Clips in 4.
Yeah.
Suns in 5. What's going on? Why do people do that now?
Not a clue.
I don't understand. All right. They even chanted at the games. They're like, Wolves in 4. Wolves in 4. I'm like, maybe the other way. Wolves in 4. All right. Josh has the odd news when we come back on 1620 The Zone.
Good segment. The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Treasure this summer at Funplex, Nebraska's largest water park and rides. Rush down a towering drop slide, race for first place in the go-karts, or maybe float your cares away on the lazy river. Hungry? We've got treats, eats, and even private cabanas to kick back and chill. And don't miss the all-new Shipwreck Chutes, dual slides with twisty turns and our biggest splash yet. Bring the whole crew and treasure this summer at Funplex. Get tickets now at fun-plex.com.
Summer's here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Get ready, because after this rain clears up over the next couple days here, through the end of this week, it's time. It's time to sweat, ladies and gentlemen.
Get your gold bond ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But for right now, you could still quietly look out the window and say, wow, we needed this.
Really needed this rain.
Next week, you'll be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait. Josh, what do we have in the odd news today?
Well, we go to Bismarck, North Dakota, where Lawrence Welk, you're familiar with Lawrence Welk?
Of the Lawrence Welk Show?
That's correct. He did not have a toilet that flushed where he grew up.
That makes sense. Isn't he like 100?
Something like that, yeah. But visitors to his childhood home in rural North Dakota now do have indoor plumbing.
Lawrence Welk. Okay, I thought you were talking about living Lawrence Welk. No, Lawrence Welk would have died
long time ago
in 1992.
Okay.
He died a week before I was born.
Wow.
Lawrence Welk died, and Connor Happer came.
Are you the reincarnation of Lawrence Welk?
That exactly. He was 89, and then there was a void for a week, and then Connor Happer showed up.
You know, it takes a week to regenerate.
I do not play the accordion.
You don't?
No.
Will Fred Armisen play you on Saturday Night Live?
Great idea. Great idea. And then you could have the baby hands.
That's right. I think that's how more people today know Lawrence Welk than anything, right?
I think so, probably, okay. Yes. Okay, so what's up with his bathroom?
His childhood home in Bismarck, North Dakota, now has indoor plumbing. They've done some upgrades with the State Historical Society of North Dakota, and they've installed flushing toilets at a dozen of its most popular staffed sites, including Lawrence Welk's childhood home.
Oh, really? He's got one of those?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. We were just talking about childhood homes a couple weeks ago, weren't we? Of like famous people.
Yes. Is Mount Vernon a good home or something
Gerald
like that?
Ford.
That's right. We told Matt that Gerald Ford's childhood home was here.
He couldn't believe it.
The North Dakota group's goal of replacing pit toilets with flushing units may seem like a humble aspiration to some, but it's an important milestone, says the guy in charge of it all. A lot of our sites are kind of in the middle of nowhere, and people don't want to come out because there isn't a flushing toilet.
That would be a deterrent, yes.
But I wouldn't even think, let's not go to Lawrence Welk's home because they might not have plumbing. Like, I would just assume that they have plumbing.
Yeah, but it would definitely prevent you from coming back for a second time.
Right.
If you went there once and you're like, damn, I really had to go to the bathroom and I had to use this hole in the ground. Or
that was unpleasant.
Yeah, that was unpleasant. I don't think I want to go back again.
Right.
So maybe they're trying to get repeat visitors.
Repeat business, yeah. Once you go to Lawrence Welk's home, I mean, you want to go there every year.
Hopefully.
We go to Florida, where, it's always pool season there. They just opened up the pools around here, or are about to. I don't know when the pools open anymore. A Florida sheriff's office told deputies that a local trapper, ended up removing 2 alligators from residential pools in a single day.
You always hear about these.
Yeah.
They just kind of climb in there.
The Martin County Sheriff's Office shared video of Deputy Dawn Ferris working with professional trapper Matt Hines to remove a 7-foot gator from a pool in Jensen Beach.
7 foot. That's a little baby.
The Post said the party crasher, the gator, was completely unfazed by the unexpected audience.
Sure.
And so they removed the gator, and then hours later,
it came back.
I don't know how they can tell that it's the same gator, but apparently they can tell such a thing. The same house 2 times in one day.
Same house, same pool.
Yeah.
Same gator.
Same gator.
Cool. Nice.
He likes that pool.
Just at that point, you let him stay, right?
I would think you'd have to at least accommodate him in some way.
That pool is that gator's pool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the very least, you're pretty terrified that gator might end up back in that pool if you remove him again.
Right.
Because he clearly knows where the pool is.
And now he's going to be mad because we've removed him twice, and he clearly wants to be in the pool.
I wonder if he's a fan of, like, you go to the local pools, or you go to, like, well, give me a local pool, Josh. Roanoke.
Yeah.
You go to Roanoke and you get the
classic.
You get the platforms.
Mm-hmm.
They did away with a couple of the platforms at some of the places because some bad things happened.
Oh no.
On the big platforms.
Sure.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yep.
Finally, we go to the internet for story number 3.
All right.
This might be the weirdest thing you can bet money on.
Oh.
If you think Jesus is due for a return visit by the end of the year, you can buy a yes share on something called Polymarket.
Perfect. That sounds like a very good thing to invest in.
Just real quick.
Don't do this.
Don't give your money to Polymarket.
Or
okay?
Doge,
Yeah.
or anything like that, or any sort of crypto anything. That's my financial advice to you. Maybe there's a way to make some quick money off of it, but I would say if you don't know anything about it, just stay away.
That's right. You can buy a yes share on Polymarket for 3 cents, as long as there's someone willing to buy a matching no share for 97 cents. And there are, as of today, the volume for this bet is $513,000. So 513,000 shares have been bought. If Jesus returns sometime in 2025, yes shares will be worth $1 each, and no shares will be worth nothing.
Wow.
If Jesus does not return by the end of 2025, yes shares will be worthless, and no shares will be worth $1.
Wow.
Eric Naiman, who runs the Unexpected Values blog, looked into why anyone would buy a yes share.
There you go. Good question.
And also why more people aren't buying no shares.
People are idiots.
He concludes that the people who bought yes shares aren't really betting that Jesus is coming back. They're betting that people who locked up their funds buying no shares will sell them at a loss to use the money on other bets with bigger payouts.
Okay.
If enough people want to sell their no shares, the yes holders may be able to sell out at an elevated price, like 6%, potentially getting a 2 times return on their investment.
This is not just go play.
Get a job.
Just go play blackjack.
Yeah.
Like if you want to gamble, just go play blackjack. It's really pretty easy. We're dealing with the whole dollars,
Yeah.
You pay $10 to get in, you play with the $10.
You know what your opponent has to do and not do. We're not commenting on whether or not Jesus will or will not return. That's not the point of this story.
Yeah.
The point of this story is, wow, you can really bet on anything.
That's the odd part of this story for sure. Thank you for letting me know, Josh.
That's right. Little investment opportunity.
Thank you you could do truly anything if you're willing to pay the price.
Yeah.
They will let you do anything.
They'll take your money if you're willing to give
the price.
it. Yeah.
Even crimes. If you're willing to pay the price, you can do them.
The Tiger King guy.
Absolutely.
He wanted to do the crime and he was like, here's some money. Why don't you kill that bee, Carol Baskin?
Exactly. And guess what? He's paying the time.
That's right.
He's paying.
He's very upset, by the way.
Still?
Yeah. Some people got pardons and he didn't.
Yeah. That's okay. All right, Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. The noon hour is coming up next. Got an email that I want to get to and a variety of other things here on 1620 The Zone.
he does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Noon hour, Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you. You're in the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Poll question up today, is Connor Happer the reincarnation of Lawrence Welk?
I'm just saying it's mathematically possible.
I mean, ideally, if that was the case, wouldn't you be born on the day that person died or like the day after?
I don't know how long it takes.
How does that work? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know either.
I mean, the soul needs to exit, a new soul needs to end, or maybe it's the same soul.
Maybe it takes a week.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes a week. So, by the way, on Lawrence Welk, Ron writes in on YouTube.
Hi, Ron.
Ron says, Lawrence Welk trivia. He used to bring his band once a year to a ballroom northeast of Oakland, Nebraska. The old ballroom is still standing out in the country. Well, maybe it had a bathroom.
With a flushable toilet.
Flushable toilet.
Yeah, what was the bathroom situation at this ballroom?
Because at his house as a kid, nothing like that. Nothing going on there. Keep in mind, Lawrence Welk was born in 1903 in rural North Dakota. What do you think rural North Dakota was like in 1903? Kind of a lot like it is right now?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I actually bet it's pretty close.
I bet it was worse.
You bet it was worse then?
Yeah.
I don't know. Josh. Poll question. Was rural North Dakota worse in 1903 or now? That's a really difficult poll question. You can figure it out. You can figure out the words from there. So welcome back. A lot of things that we still have to get to today. MLB reaction, overreaction is coming up in a few minutes. And yes, the writers have requested humbly that we talk about Jack Caglione, so we will.
It's incredible that they would suggest that.
During MLB reaction, overreaction. But a lot of this is I'm trying to figure out exactly what has happened. You know, I'm trying to figure out what the conversations are about. What are people talking about? What are people mad about? So I get an email. And I figured this is one of the things. This is from Bad Takes Doug on the Equitable Bank inbox. Not Old Man Doug. I get some tweets from Old Man Doug about drinking wine on the. Did you see this? Did you see some Old Man Doug tweets over the last couple days?
He's not picking up the phone on the first ring. He's out enjoying this beautiful country of ours.
He is in wine country, just tweeting at us, which is great. So thank you, Old Man Doug. But this is from Bad Takes Doug. Question. Regarding Nebraska baseball, what do you think I'm going to say, Josh? What do you think Doug's question is? What are the expectations for Husker baseball? It's the funniest thing every year. It's just this random. Nobody could ever get to the bottom of it. Nobody could ever answer the question.
Are we firing Will Bolt or not?
Here's what Doug says: we were supposed to dominate the Big Ten. We have a premier ballpark. And for the most part, Husker fans care about baseball. Will Bolt is barely above 55% winning percentage after his 6th season as the head coach of D1 Husker baseball. I'm just reading the email. And Willie Hustle has never coached a D1 program before here and got keys to the car. Willie Hustle. I like it. I believe we should be top quartile on average every year of the Big Ten. I'm just reading it. If we hadn't played the Big Ten tournament in Omaha, there's no way this team would have made a regional. I know he's a good guy, but so is Mike Riley. I trust your baseball guidance. What do you think? Is it time to free Willie? Bad Takes Doug.
All right.
I love the words in that email.
Quartile was good. Free Willie, Willie Hustle. There was some good in that email. Let's not immediately dismiss it.
Absolutely. I'm not dismissing it. I'm not dismissing it at all. In fact, I'll try to answer the question as best as I can with understanding that this particular conversation is becoming a little bit like the Dak Prescott contract.
A little bit, yeah.
Where I'm just like, okay. We're never going to figure this out.
Very quickly before you do that, Stibbs in the chat says, I didn't follow that email at all. Let me surmise it for you. Fire Will Bolt because he's a loser. That's what Bad Takes Doug is saying. Remember,
he's just asking the question, Josh. He's not demanding.
Bad Takes Doug is his name.
He's just asking the question. And he apparently trusts my baseball guidance.
Sure, we all do.
I will say this, Bad Takes Doug. There's a couple different things working here. I think Nebraska would behoove Nebraska to really invest into their baseball program and, build them what they want and fully fund, the team in terms of scholarships and get some help from NIL and get some help from rev sharing once that goes into effect. But I just don't think Nebraska has a lot of that because I don't think Nebraska has an athletic director that cares at all about baseball. And I don't think it's just the athletic director. Here's what happens. It's not just they don't care about baseball because they chose not to care about baseball. You could accuse them of that and you wouldn't be wrong. But the truth of the matter is, it's that the places that really invest in baseball are the places that show it. So what do you think, for example, Virginia just lost their head coach of 22 years who won a national championship, and Brian O'Connor lost to Mississippi State. Mississippi State is completely and totally invested into their baseball program. They have condos in the outfield. They have all the facilities that you could ever imagine. And they just stole a national championship head coach who's basically in his prime coaching years, has a ton of experience, and has won a national championship from an ACC school. What do you think Virginia's going to do now? Are they going to roll over and lay down? Or are they going to try and hire a coach? Are they going to go to their next coach and say, look, we haven't, because anybody who takes that job next is going to come in and say, well, why did Brian leave? Why did Brian O'Connor leave? And they'll have to answer that question. And they'll have to say, look, it's not going to be a concern. We are fully invested in you. And whatever you need, we're going to make it happen.
Is Virginia sort of the Texas A&M of the ACC?
I don't know. I don't know. They have a decision to make. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying, right? They have a decision to make. What do they want to do with it? But it's a place where they have won. And so are you going to get that back, right? And for Brian O'Connor, he's been there for a really long time. He probably needs a change of scenery too, great. All that stuff. So it's not a total 1-to-1. But the places that invest are the places that have done it before, or the places that will get passed up if you don't. Right? In the SEC. Nebraska is not in a place where they will get passed up if they don't. They are not compelled to invest in their baseball program. They're not. As sad as it is, they're not. And I know people around here really remember the times in which they were winning and they were in a different conference and just the world was a lot different. It was. But Nebraska's not going to be pouring money into their baseball program. I would love them to. I think they should. But you're going to have to get the wins are going to have to come first. And then the coach, whoever it is, whether it's Will Bolt or somebody else, will get the leverage to go to the athletic director and say, look, I know you like winning. I know you like winning. We're winning right now, but we need more to continue this. You want to keep me? You want to keep my staff? You want to keep these players? We need more. Then and only then, Nebraska would even consider making that investment into its baseball program. I'm sorry. That's just how it's going to work. And so what are the expectations? That you hopefully get there at some point. But if you feel like you have the guy that can get you there, then you stick with it as long as you possibly can until it gets really, really bad. And I don't think we're even close to that right now. No, I don't.
No.
I absolutely don't. We're not close to that at the moment. And in order to be that type of program that really, shows up eventually, it doesn't It doesn't happen overnight. Not to say that everything is going fine. They'll have to tweak and things are going to be different and tweak staff and, figure out the right combination. And as Bad Takes Doug mentioned, Will's new, like relatively in terms of being a Division I, head coach. And there's this whole changing world around him. Like, I'm not saying that you just have to wait until eventually it pops and then you go. But I'm just saying right now, you have a guy that's got you to 3 NCAA tournaments and 4 NCAA tournaments in 5 years now, right? I think. And a regular season championship and 2 postseason championships.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that is anywhere close to like, oh, you need to get rid of him.
Yeah.
No, I'm not ready for that.
You're not going to free Willie. He's won back-to-back Big Ten tournament titles.
Right. But if you want to talk about the bigger problem, if you want to talk about the bigger thing and investment and all that stuff, it's just Nebraska, along with other schools in the Big Ten, are not compelled to do it because the people around them aren't doing it. And the people that they're recruiting against aren't doing it. And this is why you see this is why you see Cam Kozel at Vanderbilt in Arkansas, right? Because it was very early. It was like, oh, that guy is going to be a really good player. We're going to go after him. Absolutely. But those teams down there have more than we do. And they have more to offer and they have better players and all of the other things. So you have to find a way to have the success as the Northern school when you're in a conference that just doesn't care. Just doesn't, or maybe I shouldn't say doesn't care, but certainly doesn't care very much. Right? So all that.
Along the way, as you're trying to build the winner, you have to remember that your roster's going to get poached if you are good at all.
Yep. And you have to win in spite of it.
Right. Yep.
Sorry.
That makes it harder.
Now, with that being said, you have more than a lot of schools do.
Sure.
Right? So it's all about your perspective on it. But I just don't think Nebraska needs to be comparing itself to anybody in the SEC at the moment. Like it's not like they're going to go out there and steal an ACC head. Like, I don't know that people had dreams of this or whatever, but like, it was like, oh, maybe we could go get Brian O'Connor. Like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
He wasn't leaving there for a job that paid him less than $4 million a year. That's college baseball. Will's making less than $1 million.
And that disparity between fan support and administrative support is always going to be frustrating.
Right.
You're going to see a packed chuck box and go, why not invest? Because they don't have to.
Every summer, coming up in a couple weeks, everybody will have dreams of this. They'll be like, damn, wouldn't it be sweet to do it? Especially in this new age of rev sharing and all that stuff. Like, the Big Ten is going to care about the football program first and basically only. Let's take a phone call on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Here's Rick on the line. Hi, Rick. Good to hear from you. What's up?
Oh, thank you. You guys, whichever one of you did the call the other day, you guys did a great job. Anyway,
thank you
on the baseball game. Anyway, I got laid off from the car wash today. It's raining, so I just thought I'd sit home and figure out what to do. But I enjoy the topic. I think there's a couple of factors that tie into what you're talking about. Number one, your AD's only been here about a year, correct?
Yeah, just a little more. Yep.
Yeah. So he's still getting his feet on the ground. You got football, volleyball is obviously successful. Women's basketball is looking good. The baseball is I don't think it's broken. Weather plays a big factor in trying to get a kid to stay here. And with the Cozio kid and the Lewis kid from Millard, of course, he went to the pros. The more the more equipped players are probably going to look for greener pastures with, like you said, down in Texas or the Oklahomas and them places. But getting back to the whole thing with revenue, baseball doesn't exactly generate a lot of revenue, even though Haymarket sells out because, it's probably one of the neater, there really ain't a whole lot to do in Lincoln, is there? I mean, you go to a baseball game, you go to basketball. I mean, in the spring. But I think the one thing that if football doesn't coincide with baseball, So if the new AD really wanted to pull a marketing stunt, what do you think would happen if he threw Belichick as an assistant coach with that baseball team along with the package he brings? Don't you think that would bring some recruits to Omaha?
Wait a minute. You think they should hire Bill Belichick as an assistant baseball coach?
As an assistant, yeah, when he's done coaching North Carolina.
Hell yeah!
After their spring.
Hell yeah,
hey,
Rick.
One other piece of nonsense for you. What are the best two things coming out of Nebraska?
I don't know. You got me. Tell me.
I-80 and Jordy Ball.
Nice. Admiral Jordy Ball. Thank you, Rick.
She's an admiral now.
What? Where did he come up with the Bill Belichick assistant baseball coach
I like
thing?
it. That's a good investment. I'm going to give Rick all my money. Have Jordan running around these halls.
Director of Ops, Jordan. Yeah. VJ writes it on Twitter.
Hi, VJ.
As a baseball first guy, it pains me to say Nebraska needs football to win first. Then they invest more in basketball and baseball.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think so too. You start there and, and then you build off of it. So there was a lot of stuff that was said in Rick's call that I tried to make mental notes to myself as we went along, but John follows up. He says, wait a minute, Rick was laid off from the car wash because it's raining? I believe that was a classic Rick joke, yes. That just seems a little harsh. It's going to eventually stop raining. Maybe it wasn't the rain. They just used that as an excuse to get rid of him. I don't think Rick works at the car wash in real life. I think Rick was just making a dad joke about the fact that if he did work at a car wash, he'd get laid off today because it was raining.
I love the idea of one-day layoffs at a car wash. Like, that's raining. We got to lay people off.
Fired. And you just go through the whole hiring process again tomorrow. Yeah. All right, back to the phones. Here's Andrew on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Hi, Andrew.
How you guys doing?
What's up? I'm good.
Does any of is Erstead, has he ever given anything back to the baseball program with all the success he had? And are there any donors that are purely baseball donors that would give just to baseball?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, Nebraska has a couple famous alums. I don't know, not enough to fund. I mean, we're not talking about $20 million here, but we're talking about little investments and donations into the program over time.
And then, this is totally off topic, but who is going to be the point guard for Creighton coming up this year?
Nick Graves.
You think he will over, who's that other kid they just got? Can't remember.
Well, Josh Dix will be in the starting lineup too.
Yeah. Who's that other guy from kind of a smaller college?
Blake Harper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bigger guy. He's like a wing, a stretch four type.
So do you see him in the starting lineup?
We'll see. As of right now, maybe not. But if things go well for him, then certainly capable.
Okay, I was just wondering. I'm a Creighton fan first and a Nebraska fan last.
Excellent. Last. All right. Thanks for the call, Andrew.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Last.
Great.
But he had all these Nebraska baseball questions.
Nebraska fan last. Everybody thinks that all the problems are fixed just by hey, who's the richest person that we have access to, and can they donate all their money to the program?
I mean, Alex Gordon made $121 million in his Major League Baseball career. Why isn't he sharing some of that with the place that made him?
They made him a facility. They put his name on it. I'm sure he donated heavily to get that building built.
I would imagine.
That'd be my guess. It's really eye-opening. You go to a place like Arkansas. So, Josh, here's what they have at Arkansas.
Okay.
I took pictures. I put them out on Twitter Thursday last week.
Right.
That's just a little bit of it because we got to use Creighton got to use their training facility to practice, and they went in and lifted weights. But I kind of walked around and
did you trespass?
No, it was very much allowed.
Man,
very much allowed. So it's a we're talking baseball only. We're talking baseball only. Weight room, full on. And then below that, there's a full on pitching kind of lab. There's immediate, you hook them up to cameras and there's immediate, data and movement that go to 10 computers in a room that's attached to it. We're talking full locker room, training table. We're talking about a huge like atrium weight room with all the trophies and stuff like that. And then it connects to the right field corner ledge where, people could go out and have a beer and watch the baseball game. And that's not all. We're talking pools and things like that. That's all in one building. That's the new building that they finished up about 5 years ago.
And what minor league team do they share this facility with?
They do not share this with the Northwest Arkansas Naturals or anything like that.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And then right next to their track facility, which is right next door, they have another baseball facility.
A second baseball facility
that's
has hit
correct.
Fayetteville?
With an entire infield. They have an entire life-size infield where they could take full-on batting practice and full-on ground balls if they want to indoors during the cold months of the winter. That's all for baseball. And so that
don't share it.
You don't get that just from one guy coming in and saying, here's $1 million. That'd be nice. Anything helps. But like that's consistent over a long period of time. You need money to not only fund the building, but to the upkeep and the employees and all the things that go into running a building like that. It is a nonstop investment. And that's what Arkansas has. Nebraska doesn't have to be Arkansas, and they're not going to be Arkansas. But I love when people come in and they're like, hey, do they got any people who could give the program like a couple $1 million and kind of get this thing going? Like
that might get you 2 players.
Right. So that is they care. I've said this 1 million times, but down there, man, like it's not a football place where they just show up to baseball games. They care about baseball. They care about Arkansas baseball, and they invest in Arkansas baseball. It's like Nebraska football is here. They have people walking around who are employed by the university. I mean, so many people are employed, and are involved with Arkansas baseball. And so it opens your eyes a little bit. Nebraska's not going to be that. They're going to have it's a mid-major program because they're in a mid-major conference. And so what do the mid-major conferences always do in basketball every year? They make the best out of what they have, and they roll the ball out there and they see if they can. There's a couple good teams in their conference every year, and they'll see if they can get to the NCAA tournament. And maybe you could get 2, 3, 4 teams in from the Big Ten Conference on a yearly basis into the NCAA baseball tournament. Not much beyond that. It's going to be hard. So you have to make the best of what you have. I understand that people want more investment into this thing, but I just think it's not worth your time to like yearn for it. It's not going to happen.
You have a better shot of being like a Murray State where the bracket just breaks right for you.
Right. So we get up in arms and it's like, oh, they got to fire the coach. Like, could they do better? I mean, I don't know, probably, but like, it's not worth upheaving the entire. It's not worth the upheaval of the entire thing, just to, see if what's on the other side is instantly better, and then who knows if it's better in 3 years. Like, no, you're not going to fire a coach, in my opinion. Here is Tim on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Hi, Tim. What's up?
Hey, guys. Hey, do you think the Big Ten's a mid-major baseball conference? Because it's not. I mean, the only reason why Arkansas is winning right now is because they have Walmart money, which is number 1. 2, they had Dave Van Horn, and Dave Van Horn made Nebraska into a so-called good program back in the day.
When Nebraska was in the Big 12.
But they still got here.
Mm-hmm.
The Big 12 conference is a better baseball conference than the Big 10.
Correct.
So they have Walmart money. All it comes down to it. And we have Howard Hawks. You guys forgot to mention that, but
thanks for the call, Tim. I appreciate it.
Guys, they don't own their own facility. We're miles away from two separate indoor training facilities.
You want to know why Dave Van Horn left? Yes, because he's an Arkansas alum. You want to know why Dave Van Horn left?
I do.
Why do you think Dave Van Horn left, Josh?
Because he was just sick of the politics here.
No, Dave Van Horn loved it here. Dave Van Horn loved it.
Oh, he seemed pretty happy at Arkansas.
He's a lot more happy at Arkansas. But he's also sad at Arkansas because he can't win, and they really want him to win. But they love Dave Van Horn. Why every year the best mid-major coaches get taken and put in bigger jobs in the Big Ten or in the SEC? So yes, I'm talking about it football and basketball now. Every year that happens. Every year. So yeah, the Big Ten is a mid-major baseball conference. It's okay. It doesn't have to be as much as it is. I think it probably plays into it a little bit too much. It probably accepts its fate a little bit too much. It could put more investment into it. It could care about it more from a conference-wide scale. But they won't because, once again, nothing compels them to do so. Nothing compels them to do so.
Also, I do think this is an important piece of information for Tim.
What?
And anyone listening.
Yes. Howard Hawks died.
Howard Hawks has left us.
Yes. This was a couple months ago.
No.
Yes.
That money
His money is still here.
That money still exists.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And also, Tim, yes, Arkansas does have Walmart money and Tyson Chicken money. Of course they do.
That's how they got their basketball
But they
coach.
have people, and a lot of them, who care.
Oh, what about, let's stop nickel and diamond this with Alex Gordon. Let's ask Warren Buffett. He's right here.
Oh, great point.
He's right down the street. I'll go ask him during the break.
Go walk down there, Josh. It's raining outside. He'll appreciate
I have an umbrella, though.
You do.
Something Michael Severe has never had.
You're one of the very few people I know, Josh, that actually has an umbrella.
Well, there was literally one by the front door this morning, and I said, I'm going to take this.
I think I'll take this.
Was it mine to take? No, not really, but
here's a tweet from Rick.
Hi, Rick.
Different Rick, I think. At Happer Show, maybe stop taking some calls for a while.
No. Phone eats first.
All right. Time for MLB reaction, overreaction. Coming up next on 1620 The Zone. Jeez. Are we back?
Sorry, I was answering the phone. More good calls coming in, but y'all don't want them.
We're never going to stop taking the calls.
Yeah.
We're never going to stop taking the calls, by the way. All right, MLB reaction, overreaction. The writers, they've been waiting. They've been waiting.
Yeah,
they've been waiting specifically for Josh to read the question, because last Tuesday I was here, but Josh wasn't. So I had to read their topics, and they didn't like that. They emailed me afterwards. They were like, we'd never do that again. And so I was like, okay, we'll just bring Josh back then. And so here he is, and Josh is here to read their takes.
I have the takes from the writers. Didn't have time to get a hard copy, but that's okay. We press on. Take number one.
Do you usually have hard copies of this?
No.
Okay.
Jack Caglione will fix the Kansas City Royals offense.
I'm trying to temper expectations, Josh.
Connery's just one man.
So here's what I want. Here's what I want Jack Caglione to accomplish. I want Jack Caglione to be good enough to allow the Royals to not do the thing they hate doing the most, which is trading players at the deadline. By the way, they've had some success with deadline trades over the years, but they hate the Royals I imagine most franchises are like this because ownership always wants to keep their jobs, and so do GMs and stuff like that. And the idea is always to like extend your window. So there's always this hesitation to like go all in, right? But in the year in which the Royals went all in, they won. They actually won. They went all in. They traded a couple of prospects, and they ended up getting Johnny Cueto and Ben Zobrist, and they went all in and they won. So if Cags isn't the fix, then what options are you left with in the outfield? If he is the fix, you're still going to that place where you're probably wanting to add, because then all of a sudden your window just opens up even more. I hear people talking about Eugenio Suarez today ending up on the Royals after the trade deadline. I'm infatuated with this. Of course I love this idea.
Right.
Is there a world where the Royals score more than one run per game and they have some home runs to go along with it? Can Jack Caglione apply some of that pressure right away?
They had a pair of 1-0 games this weekend.
I know.
They went 1-1 in those 1-0 games.
And we're going to talk about the team that they played against here in just a second. Okay. Thanks to the writers. But side note, by the way, so Cags is coming up, first Major League game tonight. You could hear it on 1620 The Zone?
1180 The Zone.
1180 The Zone. Young Jake will be out in St. Louis with Beltred. Well, does he go to St. Louis?
I don't.
He usually doesn't go on the road much anymore. Anyway, we'll see if Denny's there, but Jake will be there. Did you see the guy on for CBS?
I did see David Sampson's comments.
David Sampson, that's his name.
Mm-hmm. Former something or other in the Marlins organization.
Yelling about how it was irresponsible because if you waited another 10 days, you get the AKA service time manipulation. Everybody everywhere is mad about service time manipulation. Everybody everywhere is like, I can't believe they would manipulate his service time just to get an extra year out of it. Everyone hates when everyone does that. And then there's this guy who's on the direct opposite side. He says you're an idiot if you don't manipulate the service time. Mm-hmm. So he called the Royals idiots and irresponsible for not manipulating his service time. When the truth of the matter is, if this guy ends up being good, he's going to get extended long-term next year anyway. And so the service time thing won't matter.
Right.
So glad that conversation was had.
One last note. I'd like to read you some numbers on Jack Caglione.
Thank you.
As a junior at the University of Florida in 2024, 35 home runs in 66 games. That's 316 plate appearances. I know this is a lot of numbers, but stay with me.
That's good.
The Kansas City Royals as a team in 2025.
Oh, no.
34 home runs in 60 games.
Hey, if you give Hunter Renfroe a metal bat. then maybe he would have done. Maybe he wouldn't have been DFA'd.
Not an apples to apples comparison, I understand, but the numbers are fun to look at and go, wow, maybe he can help.
Maybe.
Also, did you see what he did in Salt Lake? Damn.
Yep.
Take number 2. The Detroit Tigers are the best team in baseball.
Did you know, Josh and writers, I know you're listening, did you know that in their last 105 baseball games, the Detroit Tigers are 71-34?
I did actually know that. I stumbled upon it over the weekend somehow, some way. It came across my face.
On August 11th, when I was on paternity leave last year, they woke up on August 11th, 55-63 in that season. They won then 31 out of their last 44 games, made the playoffs, and they are now 40-21 this season. They have guys who are actually hitting now. That was my worry with them. Their young pitching is incredible, and they're led by Tarek Skubal, who we talked about a little bit last week. Side note, did you know that Tarek Skubal has 99 strikeouts and 7 walks this year? Did you know that, Josh?
I did not know that.
90. What the
How
heck?
many starts?
The kids would say, what the helly?
What the hell?
What the hell? What the helly? What the heliante? What is going on? 99 strikeouts and 7 walks? What the helly, Josh? That's like 15 starts, I think. Is that many yet?
Couldn't possibly be that many yet,
No?
right?
Oh, I think so.
15 starts this year?
Let me see. Hang on.
He's 5-2 this year.
12 starts.
12 starts. Okay. You're closer than I thought you were. I apologize.
12 starts. 99 strikeouts, 7 walks. He's good.
Very good.
He's good. Josh, did you double down? Did you invest all your Skubal money into more Skubal money?
I did not.
You should have, because he's going to win the Cy Young again.
He is. They're 4 games better than anyone else in the AL.
Yeah, the Tigers are the best team in baseball.
2 games better than any team in the NL.
I don't like it. I don't like how this is happening.
No, you can't.
This is not good. Javi Baez is like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's very odd.
I don't get it.
It's very weird.
Take number 3. The Rockies winning a game is news.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think we've hit that point.
This might be news. So they did win yesterday.
They did.
They won their 10th game of the year.
Uh-huh.
There's nobody to compare them to anymore. They've started worse than anyone ever by far.
Mm-hmm.
They are far worse than the 1899 Cleveland Spiders.
That's right.
At this point.
They're 8 games worse than any other current team in Major League Baseball.
It is at the point where it's actually embarrassing to lose to them. It's like Nick's favorite team in college baseball, the UMass people, where they lost 50 in a row or whatever. Like, you can't be the team that UMass beats at the end of it.
I mean,
so you get a reputation like that, and all of a sudden you can't lose to them, and you'll throw everything at them. The Rockies are going to win like they're gonna win like 28 games this year.
I mean, yeah, you weren't here, but yesterday the only thing on SportsCenter, it was kind of a slow news day yesterday, was, hey, did you know that Scotty Scheffler had the same number of wins as the Colorado Rockies
That's a good
in the
one.
month of May?
Did you know that Scotty Scheffler's kid had poop up his back?
He did. I've been there.
That's it. Same. Everyone has.
Hey, you work 12 hours, here's the baby.
Exactly. Attendance,
totally get it.
Attendance last night for Rockies Marlins in Miami, 58-94. Remember that number, 58-94.
That's not good.
No. Nobody goes to those games anyway,
Right.
especially when the Rockies are in
Because
town.
David Sampson ran that team into the ground.
58-94. Attendance at Warner Park Saturday night to see Cags. 56-42.
Oh, God. That's almost the same number.
It is basically the same. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. Nice job.
All
nice job on
right.
both those teams.
Take number 4. The Mets have the best rotation in baseball.
Can you name one pitcher in the Mets rotation? Don't look. Just like I haven't looked at the Stephon Diggs thing. You can't look at the Mets rotation.
I can't. No.
The Mets have a starter ERA of under 3. It's second in baseball behind Texas. Here are their starters. Former Yankee reliever Clay Holmes. Former Los Angeles Angel of Anaheim Griffin Canning. Kodai Senga. Good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Tyler McGill, Tylor, Tyler McGill.
That's not a name. That's a typo.
One of the McGills, and David Peterson.
It's too generic.
Those are their starters, and they are dominant at the moment. The Mets might have the best rotation in baseball.
Can we trust that over the course of a season?
Of course not. Of course not.
Also, they're the Mets.
They're the Mets. But it's very different from normal Mets. Because the normal Mets are like, oh, well, we have like the 4 best starters in baseball, but
we paid so much money for all these starters.
For whatever reason, like we have Jacob deGrom, but we can't get him a win because we can't score runs against him.
Right.
But now their huge investment is Juan Soto, and he's actually not that good. And their starters, they could still afford to invest a little bit in the starting rotation, and their bullpen's pretty good too. But these guys are good. This might be the recipe for the Mets. And then they can send Juan Soto to the postseason where he'll get booed relentlessly by everybody. Every single team that he sees. All right. And finally, we go to Baseball Savant Corner. I have identified the new Luis Arraez, Josh.
Oh, really?
I'm sure you're wondering who will be the next Luis Arraez.
He doesn't have a graphic on the screen right now.
Why are we watching this garbage? Let's go back to MLB Network. I'm back. MLB Network's back. MLB Network Double Play. What's this?
This is a replay of an old game but like recent. Like this is the Apple game Friday between the Yankees and Dodgers.
Oh, okay. Ohtani, Judge, slug it out. Cool. Anyway, Baseball Savant Corner, I found the new Luis Arraez. Now, many of you have not been watching the Athletics this year.
No, I have not. Only to dip in and go, wow, that's a minor league ballpark.
Yep, still is, and it'll continue to be that way. Jacob Wilson Jr. All right. Let me tell you a little bit about Jacob Wilson Jr.
Please.
His whole bit, you may have heard about this because it came up as a headline a couple weeks ago. He never walks. It took him like 100 at-bats to get his first walk in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
He also never strikes out. This year, in 245 plate appearances, he has struck out 15 times and walked 13 times. He is the master at putting the ball in play. He never misses. His whiff rate is 9.5%. But in order to be the new Luis Arraez, you have to be you got to beat the Luis Arraez. Unfortunately, Luis Arraez has half of the whiff rate of that. Did you know that Luis Arraez hit whiff rate? This means just general swing and misses. 4.4%.
How is that possible?
He is on. I don't know how many pitches he's seen this year. I suppose it's in here somewhere, but he's probably only swung and missed at like 5 pitches the entire year or something. I mean, it's like nuts. It's something that's completely ridiculous. 226 plate appearances for Arraez. He has a strikeout rate of 2.2% at this point. So these are the masters at putting the ball in play. 5 strikeouts and 226 plate appearances.
Wow. Thank you, Twitter. This is from May 24th, so it's a little old.
A week and a half old.
Luis Arraez has seen 671 pitches this season. He has swung and missed 9 times.
9 times. That's right.
That's insane.
That's what's in the Baseball Savant Corner today. If you're interested in who else is up there in lack of whiff rate, Luis Arraez, 4.4%. Stephen Kwan, 8.3%. Yep. Jacob Wilson Jr., 9.5%. And then guys like Nico Horner, Xavier Edwards, Sal Frelick, Brendan Donovan, Geraldo Perdomo, Nolan Shanuel, Santiago Espinal. Where's the first Royal on here? It's Michael Massey. Michael Massey doesn't swing and miss, but he never gets hits. So there you go. All right. That is Baseball Reaction, Overreaction, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for participating with us. I'm sure you participated at home. You were following along with every word I said. When we come back, it's the top poll questions from the month of May. Next on 1620 The Zone. Hey, our zone deal this week is to Backlot Tap House. People forget about Backlot Tap House, but you shouldn't. Omaha's best place for Detroit-style pizza. I don't think they have a Tarek Scoobel pizza there yet, but if it's Detroit-style, maybe soon.
That's the way to play it.
30 beers on tap, pizza, beer, and everything in between. You get $50 worth of vouchers Friday at 9 for just $25, or you can listen to one of our shows throughout the week, and you can win the gift certificates for $0. You could just win them like a prize.
That's a better deal.
You get a prize. So it pays, as always, to listen to 1620 The Zone. That's the Zone deal this week, Backlot Tap House. Josh!
Connor.
One of my favorite segments of the month, the poll questions from the previous month. It's like my brain has been wiped clean the last 2 weeks. I have no idea what any of these are, so I can't wait to see what you've cooked up today.
We begin with a few bonus superlatives. Most lopsided poll question of the month came on May 22nd.
May 22nd.
I believe this is the
I
one.
was definitely gone.
You hosted this show via satellite.
Oh yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's my computer, but yes.
Do you think about Ross Dellinger?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that one.
96.5% of the audience said no.
Josh Peterson voted yes.
Tough look for Ross Dellinger.
He was the only one.
That's right. Most voted on poll question of the month came on my birthday, Thursday, May 29th.
Oh.
I believe this was an afternoon crossover topic. Connor, we'll need your opinion on this afterwards.
Okay.
When you button a shirt, not a polo, like a dress shirt.
Yep.
Do you button top to bottom or bottom to top?
Bottom to top.
That is the correct answer. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
2/3 of the audience are idiots who button their shirt top to bottom.
I got to be honest with you. I've seen it. I'm not as opinionated on the subject as you are. I think I've seen it both ways. I don't see a lot of dudes buttoning up their shirts, I guess, but they do call it buttoning up for a reason, not buttoning down.
Interesting. I hadn't thought of that. I only became opinionated about this topic from this poll question.
Wow. Is this an Austin take?
I don't remember the origin point on it. I think they were just talking about dress shirts and somebody asked the question and then that spurned more conversation.
Okay.
Kenneth adds in the chat that they're called button-down shirts.
They are. That's a good point. That's a good retort to what I just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay, so we get into the top 5 proper from the last month.
God, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
Number 5, a question that has become a running bit on the show over the last month. We'll see how much staying power it has. My bet is quite a bit. Do you know what the blankets are for? We all know what you're doing under there.
Yeah. Don't bring your stupid blankets to a movie theater.
We know what you're doing.
Your comfort is not my concern.
I wore my jammies and my fuzzy slippers to the movie, and I brought a blanket.
I just think generally, like I will even extrapolate this to a societal issue. I think that people feel as if they need to be comfortable at all times too much.
Yes.
Our
great take.
You shouldn't be comfortable all the time, because then the times in which you should be comfortable will be minimized. And then it'll just feed into itself. I was like, I have to be comfortable. I got to wear my comfy clothes. No, there's a time for being comfortable, and there's a time. I'm not saying you have to be uncomfortable,
right?
But there's a time for being comfortable, and it's inside the walls of your own home. It's not out in public.
The quickest.
You have to put on a show for me a little bit. Put on your best.
Show me some effort.
Wear a polo. All right? Wear some shoes, damn it. Put on some socks.
The quickest way to a Wall-E-esque society is people thinking they need to be comfortable all the time.
Great take.
70% of the audience said, yeah, we know what you're doing under that blanket at the movie theater.
We do.
Of course.
We do.
Of course. Number 4, top 5 poll questions of the month of May.
Number 4.
May 1st, we had a shocking revelation on the show. I think it's something you've probably already forgotten about. Did you know Ty Robinson had a pet camel? Now, we learned some of the facts about said camel from a column written by our friend Stephen M.
Yeah,
Sipple.
apparently there was multiple things written about this, and I just forgot about it or
missed
never knew about it.
Yeah. And it wasn't like his pet camel.
It was his neighbor's.
The neighbor's camel lived with them or something like that.
The neighbor's camel lived in his backyard.
Yeah.
I didn't. I voted no. How'd it result?
78% of the audience said no. So
there you go. Wow.
We were not alone, but it had been covered ground.
Must have got tied up in something else. There must have been another breaking news story around that time.
Maybe Bo said something to somebody or something.
It wasn't Bo. Well, dear God, how old do you think he is?
We're always talking about what he's talking about.
That's true. If Bo ever says anything, it will make news.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy doesn't say things anymore.
Good out.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
As the show has become more and more we learn more about ourselves over these years. The show's staples. We're sandwich guys through and through.
We're Costco guys. We're sandwich guys.
By the way, potential PM crossover topic. Look through Nick's tweets yesterday. Something about a 45-minute sandwich. I think it would be a great discussion topic.
All right.
But
like
anyway,
make fun of him for.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Is baloney ass?
Is baloney ass?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how this came up at all, but
I don't remember either.
What day was this?
I didn't write that down.
Weird.
Very. Yeah, I know. I sort of skipped the format on that one.
Yeah.
52.5% said yes, baloney is ass.
Wow. So half thought baloney is not ass.
Right.
Okay.
Shocking. Top 5 poll questions of the month of May. Number 2. Where's my button?
Here comes 2.
Number 2.
Big jump here.
Double chunk chocolate cookie. That's what Kenneth says.
Number 2. Big jump in quality here. Does Nikola Jokic always look like he just got done rebuilding the transmission on a 1993 Ford F-150?
Yes.
80% of the audience said yes.
Yeah.
Really no denying that.
Yeah.
No matter
good.
how much you want to.
I don't know how we got to that, but yeah, he definitely does.
I'm sure it was some comment on Nuggets basketball, right? They were playing this month.
They were alive.
Yeah. Which leads us to number 1. You'll have to remind me how this came about.
Okay. What if I don't know?
So, number 1.
Number 1.
In fact, I'd call it unlikely that I do know.
Oh, this might have been an Austin one. I don't know.
All right.
Are loud keyboards Gen Z's forbidden fruit?
Okay. No, so that was definitely me.
Okay.
Just
love the wording on it.
I brought up how the Gen Zers are typing on loud keyboards because they love ASMR stuff because they're sick and weird. But yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
75% of the audience said, yeah, you know what? I think you're right. Loud keyboards are Gen Z's forbidden fruit.
A good retort here from Amazing Daniel
Hi,
on the whole
Daniel.
comfort in the movie theater thing. He says, it sounds like you're actually the one who is uncomfortable with what other people are doing. So maybe you just need to deal with being uncomfortable.
Oh. Excellent dismount.
I don't prioritize I'm talking about physical comfort. I'm talking about physical comfort. So there's a difference there. Do I become mentally uncomfortable when people are extremely comfortable around me? Maybe a little bit. And that's a fair point.
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
It is a fair point.
Yeah. Just button it up a little bit.
I mean, is this how people who wore, I know we got to get out of here, but wore suits on an airplane because they're flying somewhere? Is this how they felt when the first man wore a polo shirt or a shirt and shorts?
Yeah, what happened
on an airplane?
to that?
We used to dress up for air travel.
Dress up. Oh, and now it's the exact opposite.
It's just like a movie.
People don't
theater
even
in there.
wear clothes on the plane anymore.
I got my PJs.
Yeah, you would think it's their home. It's like, no, you're going to be sitting here for an hour Southwest flight to Chicago. Okay, you don't have to just wear the clothes that you're going to wear. All right. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Con.
That's the top 5 poll questions of the month of May. We'll try and do better in June, although there will be a long stretch in which we will be doing the College World Series shows. But it'll still be the Connor Happer show.
That's right.
People
Can't take
forget
that
about
away from
that.
us.
1 o'clock hour coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, Chris writes in, poll question, should we bring back wearing suits on airplane travel?
I'll do it, but that's going to get voted to hell.
Should we bring wearing suits back to airplane travel? That's what Chris said. I think we should ask the question. Put it out there.
Overwhelming, no.
Mike says, on most flights I take, I would pay more for people to wear more clothes. If you could control what people around, that'd get a little dangerous.
You get an email 48 hours out from your flight, and it just says someone has paid for everyone to be wearing more clothes.
But you get credited back though.
Maybe.
Like what?
Mm-hmm.
But that would be that'd be a junk system, because then it would encourage people it would encourage their default to be wearing, sweatpants, aka no clothes. Right? Because then you go back, and if you're required, like for me, for example, I would wear this almost exactly this on an airplane, which is a polo and golf shorts. I look like I'm about to go golfing. I generally look like I'm about to go golfing everywhere. Right?
That's right.
But then I wouldn't get any money back because nobody would tell me to change my clothes. Nobody would pay for me to wear more clothes. So that's a little disappointing. But maybe I just get a discount on the front end. I don't know. There's a lot to this.
And then you'd have to
we come up with a system,
create a uniform standard for what is enough clothes, right?
Yeah, shorts or pants and a polo,
and then
at least.
In this day and age,
I could live with a t-shirt too, honestly.
I mean, it'd have to be the same for men and women, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But once you get into sweatpants, you have to pay extra. Unless someone pays for you to not wear sweatpants and then you get that money back, but you have to comply. This is a weird society that we could potentially be living in, but
it would take a hell of a lot longer to board an airplane.
It would.
Because we'd have to be checking everybody.
That would make it a lot worse. You're right. All right, Josh.
Connor.
Couple things. I have questions for you here.
Okay.
Number one, what is going on with Pablo Torre and Bill Simmons?
Okay.
They're yelling at each other. I have two questions for you in this segment. And the first one is about what's going on with Pablo Torre and Bill Simmons.
Well, Pablo Torre has been FOIA-ing the University of North Carolina.
Yes.
And reporting on his findings.
Yes, he's the one who said all those things about Jordan.
Mm-hmm. And Bill Simmons this is lapped upon Bill Simmons' shores, and he, the ardent defender of all things Bill Belichick, has said, how dare you? No one can hurt Bill. Don't talk about Bill that way. Why would you talk about Bill that way?
Did he actually say that, or did what?
I don't know.
What was his critique? Did he tweet this?
I don't know what his critique of Pablo Torre was exactly. That's kind of the missing piece for me. But
you don't listen to the Bill Simmons podcast?
I don't. We'd have to ask Josh about that. But it was a no. How could Bill's my guy? He dated a woman. What's the big deal? I believe was his critique. Now that I think about it, he's dating a woman. Why is that news? Well, Bill, it's news because she's clearly inserting herself into like being his assistant, manager, PR person, whatever. Like that's why it's a story.
Yeah, because she seems to have a lot of control.
Right. And that's what Pablo Torre is trying to get to the bottom of. And they're apparently going to do a joint podcast together this week or something.
Okay.
To discuss the issue.
No, I don't see any Bill tweets here.
I believe it was on the pod.
Okay.
And
Pablo, so somebody aggregated it.
And Pablo responded to a clip or something and said, I think you're kind of too scared to talk to me about this.
Oh, damn.
Because you could just talk to me.
You know what's funny? I thought that those two guys would kind of be in the same, universe.
Right. It was a surprising podcast beef.
I don't think that they have I don't think that their views align, but Bill tends to surround himself with people like Pablo.
Right. Like there would be I'm clear, it's very known that Pablo Torre is doing FOIA requests. Like it's not, I guess Bill's issue is it's his girlfriend. Why do we care?
Okay. Interesting. Thank you for explaining that to me.
Yeah.
So we look forward to that podcast. I won't listen to it, but I'm sure it'll be aggregated for me and I'll check some of the clips out.
I'll condense it down in that form. Yes.
All right. So the other thing that I put on here is thing that I don't know about that happened over the last week or two. I genuinely have no timeline and have no idea what's going on here. I know that people have been talking about it and almost to the point where I looked into it. They were talking about it on one of the Chit Chat shows this morning, and Josh said, don't look at the screen. So I only saw the headline. Could you please tell me, or could anybody out there please tell me what is going on with Stefon Diggs?
Okay. I'm glad you kept this.
What did he do?
Pure. Well,
he has clearly done something bad.
Did a couple of things. Let's do the more scandalous one first and work our way down.
There's multiple things.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
exciting.
Kind of a two-prong. It was a big weekend for Stefon. He went on a boat with some friends.
But the reason I know about this is people seem surprised when he was at practice yesterday. And they were like, what's he doing there? And I thought, oh my God, what did he do? Like, is he really, like, was he kicked off the team? What's going? So thank you. Please tell me.
So he went on a boat with some friends and some videos got out. One of the videos is essentially Stephon Diggs passing out pink baggies and telling people not to do all of it. Don't do all of it, he says, as he's passing around the bags.
Hey, so what's
of a substance? We don't know what the substance is.
Well, what drug is pink?
I don't know.
All right, you guys can anonymously comment in the YouTube.
And
Tell
then,
what drug is pink?
And then the second pronged attack of this is that he was seen in a rather amorous position with Cardi B. The two have since gone public with their relationship.
What do you mean an amorous position?
They were canoodling. They were getting hot and heavy.
What's bad about that?
Nothing.
That's cool. He can kiss whoever he wants to kiss.
Yeah, and if that person is another celebrity, great.
Yeah. All right. So that part's aside. He didn't do that. Like, that's okay. You could do that. You could have a girlfriend.
Yeah, he's allowed.
All right. But wait, what do you mean? Like, how much canoodling are we talking about here? There was a video?
Yeah, there was I believe it's been referred to as a twerking video.
All right. So maybe that's a little too far. That's a little too far. But really, it's the first thing we're talking about. He was on a boat and did some drugs, and there was a video.
He was handing out the drugs. We have no proof that he was doing the drugs.
All right. So Kenneth writes in, are you guys cops? You know you have to tell us if you're cops.
I'm not a cop.
Jimmy says he thinks it's ecstasy.
Okay.
Or I said I was going to keep you anonymous. I did not do that immediately. But, you know.
Are you a knock?
Just, yeah. We're not knocks. So doing ecstasy on a boat, allegedly, or passing out, and that is, he's having some fun this offseason. He's maybe dating Cardi B.
Yeah, that's a twerking video.
I'm not surprised to see him at practice.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised to see him. I mean, so what? That seems like a standard NFL offseason.
And in that situation, like, I'm almost assuredly going to work. Like, I need,
like, you have to go.
I can't do all of that and then miss a day of work.
Right. And then people are going to start thinking, oh, is he on that boat again? And did he bring Cardi B this time? Okay. All right. We got to the bottom of that, I think, Josh.
We sure did.
That's great.
I'm really glad you didn't find this out beforehand.
I really don't and so I wanted to make an evaluation on whether he should have been at work or not. I think he should. I think he did the right thing. Went to work. He went to work, and I assume the Patriots people will start asking. The media will start asking him questions, and he won't talk about it, and this whole thing will go away. And people will bring it up eventually when he drops a pass or something like that, and they'll say, "Oh my God,
shouldn't have been on that boat.
He shouldn't have been on that boat with that weird pink drug and Cardi B."
So here's an interesting question from Jimmy in the chat.
Yeah.
So shouldn't the company do something? I mean, 1620 would have issues with you two doing the same thing.
Yeah, there's different standards,
I don't actually know that they. First of all, I don't.
Did they release
they would ever know?
Did they release a comment?
Did the Patriots?
Did the Patriots release a statement about
That's interesting. I don't know.
Let's go check.
I don't know that this warrants a statement, really.
There was a. They've covered it up with a press conference about a center retiring, a beloved center retiring.
Oh, wow. Good for them.
Interesting. So when did this whole boat thing happen?
This is how Stephon spent his weekend.
All right. Yeah, I don't see any tweets about Stephon Diggs
No.
on here. So no comment. I think that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
No comment.
Keep your head down.
Just blow right through it. Literally. Right, Josh?
Yeah.
Not a knock. We are not knocks. Chris writes in, poll question, would you make it to work after tweaking with Cardi B? But I think
tweaking or
twerking? Or both. He may have been tweaking and twerking at
I'll
the
put
same
both.
time.
I'll put both.
All right.
Would you make it to work on Monday after a weekend of
Tweaking and
twerking
with Cardi B?
With Cardi B.
With Cardi B. There you go.
I think I might need a recovery day. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice. But sometimes you got to push through. It's like the day after the Super Bowl.
Right. It should be a holiday.
It should be a holiday. The week after I go on the boat with Cardi B with that weird pink drug, that should be a holiday every year. I do it. I only do it once a year. It's like when people go to Okoboji.
I can't wait for the first person to get a microphone in front of him, and he goes, "Yeah, it's just pre-workout. I don't know what everyone's so up in arms about."
All right, we answered the questions that I had. Those are the things that were happening while I was gone. Also, one more thing happened. The Inside the NBA ended. Goodbye. Inside the NBA. They said the F word I saw.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, he just dropped it. He said, bleep it. I think it was Shaq.
It was a real Lee Corso move.
Yeah, but it was purposeful that time. I have an opinion. This is a preview for I have an opinion tomorrow.
Ooh.
ESPN is going to ruin the show.
That was my comment yesterday.
Interesting. I didn't know this. So my real prediction is that they're going to do this show it'll look the same and whatever and all that different stuff.
It's still in Atlanta, still the same crew.
Absolutely, but it's ESPN's now.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do the same crew, as you know, is going to do this show for 1 year, one basketball season, maybe two. And then someone on the crew or on the cast, quote unquote, on the table,
Charles,
one of them will come out and say, it doesn't feel right. And then that person will quit. And then the show will basically end at that point.
Well, we're not going to do it without Charles Barkley.
Yep.
So,
and by the way, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm people have really overdone it about this whole show. Like, it's great. It's one of the best shows on TV. Absolutely. But like, when shows come to an end, sometimes it comes to a natural end.
Well, why won't another network buy it and put it on? I need more episodes of Bones.
We don't need to naturally, or I'm sorry, artificially like pump this show and make it continue on in like a fake way, like without Charles Barkley, without Shaq or something like that, or that EJ. We don't need that. We don't. If it's going to end, just let it end, and I think it probably will in the next like 2 or 3 years. And that's okay. We don't. That's really okay. Like when The Office ended, it was supposed to end.
Yeah,
it's
like seeing your old loved one on a ventilator. You're like, that's not the way I want to remember you.
It's just let it end.
Just let it go.
Just let it end.
And some of
that was a little dark, Josh. But yes.
It was. I apologize.
Yep.
Some of the concerns I brought up yesterday, ESPN has come out. They must have listened to the segment because they said, no, we're not having them follow the ESPN format. Like, we're going to do a post-game show for like the first time ever.
Sure.
This is going to be like Pat McAfee, where we're just licensing the show. It's going to be exactly the same. They're going to run it. We're just going to air it.
I totally believe you.
And
totally believe that.
I guess that makes it better, but it's still going to feel different, everybody.
I totally and definitely believe them. For sure.
Yeah.
That will 100% happen. Jeff says they're definitely going to ESPN the show. You know exactly what I mean. Yeah. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I know what it means.
I mean, no Stephen A. and Michael Wilbon are not going to get themselves on that show.
Yeah, they'll be on that show.
Yeah.
Hey, we're welcoming, and then there will be a commercial, or there will be Ernie will be reading some ad for, Moana 7 or something like that on Disney Plus.
The latest Star Wars series coming out. That's my Ernie Johnson. It's really bad.
Email from Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
On the Equitable Bank inbox. Connor, you mentioned wearing golf shorts while flying. My sister thinks people who wear shorts on airplanes are disgusting. In fact, she once tore me a new one. It didn't say that. For flying in shorts.
Shorts?
Nobody sitting next to you wants your hairy legs touching them, but it has not stopped me. Okay. Just FYI, Jerry. What do you think about that? Is that too far? I'm okay with the shorts. And I think you can keep your hairy legs away. You shouldn't be. Your hairy legs shouldn't be touching other people, and maybe they do a little bit. All right. Does it make a difference if the legs are hairy and they're touching you?
What's better, rubbing up against your legs?
A hairy leg or a non-hairy leg?
Yeah.
Full question.
I don't know.
Would you rather accidentally bump into some hairy legs or someone's non-hairy legs?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost weirder if they're not hairy legs, right?
Right.
We're talking about dudes. Okay. So there's just a comment from Jerry. When we come back, we'll go to Athletic Director Corner.
Ooh.
Wanted to keep you updated on a few things that are going on with some of our nation's most prominent athletic directors on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
All right, Athletic Director Corner.
We don't go here often. It's nice.
I want to check in with 3 either current or former athletic directors.
All the chairs are that thick, deep brown leather.
Yeah. The offices are spacious and have giant windows.
Mm-hmm.
This is Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork. We've checked in with Ross before. Ross is the former athletic director at Texas A&M. We'll talk about their current athletic director, also in this segment. He's a part of Athletic Director Corner. So Ross Bjork is the person whose hand presides over the big red button. I always talk about the big red button, where if Ohio State gets mad and they decide that they want to be, they're going to push their weight around and challenge Fox on what time they play their games and all of those things, then, they could really blow up college football. We'd like to thank Ross Bjork for saying this, quote, Fox is a great partner.
Oh, wow.
Look at this. Ross Bjork said, Ohio State has carried the big noon window for a long time, ever since it was created. That's a credit to our program, our players, our coaches, the consistency of championship football. We get the way the contracts are written. All that we're hoping for is a little more balance and a little flexibility, and that's not possible given the current makeup of these TV contracts. Look at this.
What a mature thing to say.
Back in my day, there were teams who were threatening to leave conferences for things like this when they were frustrated. Last week, of course, it was revealed that Ohio State and Fox had pushed to move Ohio State's season opener against Texas from the big noon window to Sunday night primetime. Texas declined.
Got to go to church.
For whatever reason. Yep. And Bjork said of Fox, they're a great partner. They tried. They have the first pick every week. There was no way they're not going to choose the Ohio State-Texas game. And what he could have said was, I hate this, and our fans deserve better. And if you don't put us on nighttime games, if you don't, basically it's Eli Manning. It's what Eli Manning did with the draft. Hey, if you draft us, we won't play for you. So Fox is the first pick every week, and if Ohio State goes up to them and says, do not pick us, or else, I wonder what Fox does in that situation. But instead, it wasn't that direction he went with it. He said, Fox is a great partner, and we understand that there's only so much we can do. Nice job, Ross Bjork.
Good job.
Credit where credit is due. Athletic director number 2 and athletic director corner, Trev Alberts.
Oh, we know him.
Trev Alberts. He has decided to not fire his coach. Where have I heard this before?
Which one?
His baseball coach.
Okay. Not Jim Schlossnagle.
Well, he did not fire him.
No.
He just left. He just went to a different place. Where he did not make the super regional, for the record.
Interesting.
And his batter's eye fell over before it had to be repaired. Michael Early, not fired in baseball. Everyone was pretty sure that he was going to get fired. There was a lot of stuff kind of moving behind the scenes, and you know how Texas A&M works. People have varying opinions of things. It just seemed to be an awfully toxic situation
at Texas A&M.
At Texas A&M, given the fact that they had some injuries this year. It was messy. It was a messy deal, and they ended up not making the NCAA tournament.
Preseason number 1.
The preseason number 1 ended up not making the NCAA tournament. They kept all those guys. I feel bad for Jace Laviolette. Grahovic got hurt at the start of the year. Whatever. And Trev Alberts says, I am not going to do the thing that you think I'm going to do. I will keep this coach. Weird move.
Before.
Weird move. We have heard this before. How did that work out last time, Josh?
Oh, probably not well.
That's right. Scott Frost stayed.
He did.
He was not fired at Nebraska, where he then went on to coach 2 more games before he was fired.
I mean, do you want to be the team
3
that
more.
has 3 head coaches in 3 years?
No, you don't. But Trev is like, I'm telling you, I saw it up close this weekend. Like you go to those SEC places, and there's a lot of people who care, and there's also a lot of people who like work for the athletic department, but like don't do jack. You know what I mean? People who are just on the payroll.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. Trev hates that. Trev hates that. He hates spending money unnecessarily. He hates, I shouldn't say he hates spending money, because they've done some things and they have money to deal. Like, he'll get delivered checks, They have the money to spend. So it's not that he hates spending money. He hates spending money for the sake of spending money. But SEC culture is, you spend money for the sake of spending money. We have to have the most, the best, always. And in order to do that, you got to be a little crazy. You got to, fire some people early, hire some people for too much money. Trev does not like doing that. And so his undertaking is very challenging. What he's effectively trying to do is change that culture. That might not work, man. I'm just saying.
They like their culture.
That might not work. Because the culture of everybody else is to do more and more and more all the time and to always hire the best. And so you hear their fans comment on it and they're like, Mississippi State just hired Brian O'Connor. They're
gearing up. They're coming.
They went for it. And if we're just talking about baseball, obviously football and basketball, it's the same thing. Like they just fired their coach and did this and this and this and this. And then they said they don't care about the money. We're going to do what we think is best, and we're going to hire the best coaches that we have out there. That's not Trev's style. The truth of it is, Trev was a better fit at Nebraska than he was at Texas A&M. He is.
Yeah.
He just is.
Just that rabid fan base doesn't afford him any favors or errors.
No.
Like he can't make a wrong decision, right? Like,
so I can't wait to see where that one ends up. That's athletic director number 2 in athletic director corner. Athletic director number 3 is a former athletic director.
Ooh.
It's Bill Moose.
Bill Moose.
Did you hear that Bill Moose has a book coming out?
I heard it like 3 years ago.
Yeah. It was a long time ago now.
Sipple was ghost writing it or ghost reading it or something. I don't know.
Sipple, he
was helping him with the timeline or something. That happened, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. He once again continues to tease the fact that Bill Moose has a book coming out.
He's going to try and burn this place to the ground.
Well, I don't know. Is it?
I don't know.
Is he going to try and burn this place to the ground? I don't know.
I think he'll tell stories that he thinks are entertaining, but the fallout will be to burn this place to the ground. Because we will overreact to quite literally everything in that book.
So, we talked about earlier when Arkansas put out that video of Van Horn shaking hands with Ed Service, and the people were like, whoa, not far behind you? Hang on now. Yeah. There will be a little detail or two in that book where people will be like, excuse me? That happened? But it's kind of all water under the bridge, I guess, at this point. But I just think it's funny how Sipple keeps mentioning it. I can't wait to see people, is the book ever coming?
I also like that he used the term spirited conversation in the headline as if to wink and nudge to the reader. Hey, spirited. Spirit. It's another word for booze.
Gotcha,
I don't know if he did that on purpose or not.
Bill Moose's book surely will spark spirited conversation amongst Nebraska fans later this summer. Sipple writes, things I know and things I think I know. Bill Moose, the former athletic director, is a master storyteller with his incredible sense of humor. He's also a savvy politician. He seems to enjoy writing, and he's been doing a lot of it lately. I've mentioned in previous columns that the 74-year-old Moose is writing a book about his career in college athletics. Well, he's almost finished with it, he told me Thursday from his ranch in Washington. The book will be available to readers in mid to late summer, he says. He told me enough about the book during the past several months that I say with great confidence that Nebraska fans are going to be extremely interested in it. And then he goes on to write, bottom line, Moose sheds light on a lot of key elements in his tenure, including the hirings of Scott Frost and Fred Hoiberg. And some of that light is surely going to elicit spirited discussion in our parts later this summer. Okay, I'll stop with the teases. My bad.
Wow, Sipple saying my bad.
My bad. My B, he should have said.
He'll get there.
Can't wait. Blackcat writes in.
Hi, Blackcat.
Bill's book / that Caitlin Clark thing handshake meme.
We're getting to it.
We're getting to it.
It was our first show back in 2 weeks. Like we're not going to get to that Caitlin Clark thing today. She's injured.
Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
I'm convinced that Sip and Moose are best friends. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those two. I think those two get along nicely. I think Bill likes talking. I think Moose likes talking.
And Sip likes listening.
Sipple likes calling people who talk. Yes, exactly. Perfect. All right. We will come back. We have the poll questions on the other side. We'll also tell you what to watch. I think that'll conclude Athletic Director Corner.
Good corner.
Oh, we could do our Wikipedia page.
Oh, yeah. You got a minute here?
Yeah. Our Wikipedia page of the day. List of neutral site regular season Major League Baseball games played in the United States and Canada.
Now, this stems from Pitbull being announced as the headline of a concert taking place at Bristol, Tennessee's Motor Speedway for the Speedway Classic later this summer between the Braves and Reds.
August 2nd, and then August 17th will be the Little League Classic. So we've had a Little League Classic for every year for a while now. We've had a couple this is a Speedway Classic. We've had the Rickwood game. We've had 2 Field of Dreams games. We've had MLB in Omaha. We've had the Fort Bragg game on top of a Little League game every year. And then also several games moved due to hurricanes and things of that nature.
That'll happen.
Also, MLB's first known neutral site game played in the United States, June 22nd, the Washington Senators and the Cleveland Broncos, probably Broncos, moved 2 of their 1902 games to Fort Wayne because laws against Sunday games were enforced in Cleveland but not in Fort Wayne. The venue, League Park, was also called Jail Flats.
Whoa.
After its general location. I assume it was near a jail. There you go. Wikipedia page of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Wikipedia page of the day. We're back after this with the polls. We'll tell you what to watch on 1620 The Zone.
Upon further review, the host point is good. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids. Control.
From Shams Charania, the New York Knicks are relieving Tom Thibodeau of his duties as a head coach.
Oh, no.
Immediately after leading the Knicks to their first East Finals in 25 years and making the playoffs 4 out of the last 5 and winning 50-plus games back-to-back for the first time since the 90s.
Thanks for building this thing, Tom.
Yeah.
We're going to let someone else drag it across the finish line.
I got to say, with that being said, I am not surprised. This is just how it goes with Tibbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His type of coaching wears on players.
Yep. So get ready for Dan Hurley.
He'll be on someone's short list, right? Oh, man.
Somebody's going to report. Yeah.
Or Patino.
That's going to be good. Oh, Patino.
You want to come back?
Yeah. You don't have to move. You don't have to go anywhere.
League. Yeah. New York loves you, baby.
All right, to the polls at Happer Show. Is Connor Happer the reincarnation of Lawrence Welk?
I don't think so, but it is nice to know that it's possible.
Interesting timing. 57% say no. Was rural North Dakota worse in 1903?
I'm going to bet a lot of rural North Dakota says no, it was better.
What do you think, though?
I think yes, it
You
was.
think it was worse?
It was worse.
67% say yes.
Most voted on poll question of the day.
Interesting. Should we bring wearing suits back to airline travel?
No.
Didn't we have another one about the leg hair? Oh, there it is. Okay.
We'll get there.
Should we bring wearing suits back to airline travel? Not that far. I don't need that. 67% say no. Would you make it to work on Monday after a weekend of tweaking and twerking with Cardi B? Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Says the guy who's missed several shows in the last 2 weeks. 68% say no.
Wow.
And would you rather accidentally rub up against a guy with hairy legs or not hairy legs?
See, I think if it's a guy,
it doesn't. You want to have the hair?
Yeah, the smooth leg is going to throw me off.
63% say unhairy. They don't want to touch the hair.
Okay.
For whatever reason. Those are the polls, Josh. What are we watching?
Well, I'm going to be honest with everyone. Not a great night for television as the NHL Stanley Cup Finals begin tomorrow. The NBA Finals begin Thursday. So we're stuck with baseball tonight. Doubleheader on TBS. That's cool.
We're stuck with baseball.
Well, it's not great baseball. It's Guardians Yankees. Who am I supposed to root for?
It's Cags.
Big meteor.
It's Cags.
I get blacked out from those games.
Well, I could give you my Bally's or FanDuel, whatever it is.
Mets Dodgers at 9 o'clock on TBS. 6:30 MLB TV free game of the day. The Rays host the Rangers. And, of course, you can listen to the debut of Jack Caglione on 1180 The Zone tonight. I believe it's a 6:05 broadcast start for a 6:45 first pitch. WNBA has a couple of games on. Washington at Indiana, 6 o'clock NBA TV. Dallas is in Seattle to take on the Storm at 8:30 on ESPN. ABC at 7 o'clock, Celebrity Wheel of Fortune. Justin Long, the Apple, was he the Apple guy or the other guy or the PC guy?
What?
Justin Long, those commercials.
Oh, like from 20 years ago?
That's right, Connor.
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay.
He seemed like he was the Apple guy, though.
I would think so, right? Yeah. Rachel Harris and WNBA star Cameron Brink are on the show.
Bonk. Sickos out there.
You know why she's there.
Sickos.
Movies on television tonight. Die Hard is on AMC at 7 o'clock. And Connor, one of your favorites, Rocky IV, is on at 8 p.m. on BBC America.
Nice. I definitely have that.
You probably do.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That's what we're watching tonight. That's the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Time for the crossover coming up next.